Hey there, I'm Rachel.
I'm Tristan.
We're the hosts of The Nooniverse on the Fandom Limb Network. Our podcast dives into everything related to the Asian entertainment scene. Whether it's K-pop, K-dramas, boys love, our universe covers it all. We post every other Tuesday morning to dish about what we're watching, who we love, and why you should too. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you're interested in listening to real conversations about the Asian entertainment wave that doesn't get enough love, then you'll love The Nooniverse.
With the development of each Harry Potter film, the task of finding a director is always the first hurdle. Director of The Prisoner of Azkaban, Alfonso Cuarón, had announced publicly that he was only interested in directing one Harry Potter film. Next, the offer was given to the director of the first two films of the series, Chris Columbus, who turned it down to spend more time with his family. Eventually, having directed several successful films such as Four Weddings and a Funeral, Donnie Brasco, and Mona Lisa Smile, British director Mike Newell was hired for the job. The biggest writing challenge was figuring out how to condense this 636-page book into one movie. Initially, it was thought to be broken up into two, but no one could figure out a way to do it. Instead, a lot of the book's plotlines were cut in order to fit the story into a single film. The Goblet of Fire was hugely successful and ended up becoming the highest-grossing film of 2005 worldwide, making $897 million at the box office. It is highly praised by critics as well, with many considering this film to be one of the best in the series. But what did we think of it? Joining us for this fourth Harry Potter film is friend of the pod, filmmaker, and colorist, Mike Schatz. So come along with Colin, Harris, and I as we enter the Triwizard Tournament together, because we watched the 2005 magical family classic, Mike Newell's Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is a show about franchises, wizarding movie franchises. You're listening to License to Watch.
Why in the world was this movie made?
Welcome to the show. This is License to Watch, and I'm joined here by my fellow nerds, Colin and Harris. How are you guys doing?
Hello.
I'm great.
Joining us today is our good friend, colorist, and professional dungeon master, Mr. Michael Schatz.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for coming. And today, we're talking about the classic film, the classic Harry Potter film, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, a title which I don't think is great. I feel like they should have called it something else. Harry Potter and the Triwizard Tournament?
No, that would be a much worse title.
I actually have to agree with Harris on that. I don't know if it's like a terrible title. It is an object that only appears for a small bit of the runtime. But you have to remember these are adapted from the books, and when that title got released for the books, we were all very excited.
Yeah, because it seems like it's going to be a lot cooler than it is.
Yeah, because fire is cool.
Yeah, and goblets are
pretty
cool.
sweet as well.
Yeah.
The word goblet is cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say a goblet itself is cool. It's just, it's a cup.
Well, but a goblet of fire.
Yeah.
What's your
that's
problem
fire.
with cups, man?
They provide me with drink, much like this one.
Yeah, what's not cool about that? Goblets also prescribe to the whole fantasy setting. By being on fire is a little bit different, but you also have to remember in a movie, it's going to be a shorter part of runtime. In a book, it actually is a sizable chunk of the book. Right. So it doesn't feel as out of place in the book.
Didn't they cut that scene where Harry keeps asking why the goblet isn't made of fire?
Yeah, he just spent the whole time like, I'm disappointed by this goblet of fire. I thought it was actually going to be made out of fire.
I'm sorry, Dumbledore. I thought you said it was made of fire.
It would not have been out of place with his character.
That's a good accent. I like that.
He's been living in this world for 3 years, and he still seems to be amazed by every time he runs into something that's magic.
Everything.
Yeah,
my
I'm
God.
getting annoyed by it at this point.
Also, Harry, if you're there with like 9 other people and they all have their hands in the fucking boot, boot. Somebody shouldn't have to yell at you to put your hand in the fucking boot. Just like stop being so different and just follow along and pay some fucking attention.
Yeah,
he's at that age where he's not paying attention to anything.
If he's been doing this for 3 years where he like still doesn't know what's going on, why doesn't he at least know how to go with the flow without like making it obvious?
Right,
like,
right.
What?
Like, what? I'm new here. I just found out about this. In his defense, wizards have like a billion ways to get somewhere. It's like there's like chimneys and there's port keys and there's trains and flying cars.
I think every movie so far has introduced like a new mode of transportation.
Exactly. So
can't they turn into like ghosts or whatever?
I mean, it's pretty good as an audience member. You're like, oh, cool, I can travel via moldy boot.
Someone came up with this shot right here. It's like definitely from the trailer. I remember that. Like it's the most beautiful shot in the movie where it's like
of a manky old
silhouette of a crummy old boot.
I feel like they're getting like more and more aggressively color graded.
Oh yeah,
as we go.
I can definitely rant on that for way too long.
Yeah.
Well, what's
Schatz, why don't we get
your
into
bullet points for that?
Yeah, why don't we get into your like background with this series, books, movies, and
Absolutely. So my aunt bought me the first book. I want to say around the time the third book was coming out, and I aggressively read the first book, fell in love with it immediately. And so the first couple I got were paperback, but after that I started buying them first edition when they were coming out, Barnes & Noble midnight releases. So I am a big old Harry Potter book nerd, and I also enjoyed all the movies as they were coming out, so I've seen all of them in theaters. And in fact, saw the third movie early because I was working at the movie theater at the time. So I was really excited to watch Prisoner of Azkaban before anyone else.
Wow. And so I believe when I asked you if you had any preference for any of these movies, you specifically said, please put me on for Prisoner of Azkaban. That is my favorite movie.
I think it's a genuine masterpiece.
And I said, no.
You said you can ask again.
Yeah, we didn't need another person offering to give a Prisoner of Azkaban hand job on this podcast. We need some real critical thought.
So that actually confirms that it's good and it's the best one. Does everyone want to do it because it's the best one?
Everyone does like that one. That was speaking of color grading, that was aggressively color graded but very dark. This one was more colorful than, like, I thought they were going to get darker and darker. You look at the posters and the posters just get darker and darker and darker. Mm-hmm. But I was surprised at how much color is actually in this one. It's definitely, like you said, very artificial looking in a lot of it. But
so I've been going ahead, and it looks like there's a trend towards like desaturating. I think, I don't know if that's correct. I don't know, maybe Michael, you
real
know that.
Quickly,
Yeah.
from a color standpoint, the first two Christopher Columbus films, he wanted it like bright, golden, a lot of warm stuff that adds to the natural environment, because the first film was actually shot in an actual castle. Then they took that same look to the sets and made it feel fantasy-like. And then the third movie, due to its darker storyline, I think Alfonso Cuarón did go for a much cooler look. It is desaturated, but there's still a lot of blues, a lot of the cool tones. So there's still saturation, just more on the cool side of things. This fourth movie, it feels that Newell kind of had two different styles. He has very, I would say, naturalistic, a little bit more bright and colorful for a lot of the school stuff, especially the Quidditch World Cup, which is what we're currently looking at. But then on the flip side of things, any of the stuff at the old Riddle Mansion has got a slight green cast to it and is heavily desaturated. After that, we have David Yates, who definitely goes for a more desaturated look, each one successively more and more desaturated. Yeah. But I will say, I don't really care for that, with the exception of Half-Blood Prince. I think Half-Blood Prince's color design is actually really cool because it's desaturated, but with spots of extreme saturation, so your eye is drawn to certain things. I think the sixth movie is beautiful.
This dancing leprechaun fireworks display looks like he should be trying to sell me cheap insurance or something.
It does. I can feel a little like jingle.
Yeah.
Do they have any kind of insurance in the wizarding world? Because, like, you watch any sporting event in this real world that we live in, and you get like a lot of insurance related commercials.
I would have loved to see some wizard advertisements right here. That would have been really great.
Yeah.
That being said, I actually, I will probably be griping about this movie quite a bit, since everyone, as you got to hear that Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite of the series. This is my least favorite of the series.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, but I do feel that they did capture British sporting events really well. So I could see this as a magical British sporting event. I think this scene was actually done really well.
I don't know. I think it was crummy.
crumb.
Yes.
I noticed an interesting trend in this movie that's different from the others. So Hermione is looking more and more like a modern woman. She's like got, modern hairstyles, whatever. Whereas every other male character in this movie is going for like a 1970s John Denver look.
It's kind of like, no, they're just like filthy teenagers who aren't taking care of themselves and aren't bathing or getting a haircut enough.
Smell like shit.
Oh my God. Like that was my overall impression of this movie is this set must have just smelled like BO, because you can see that these are like Harry and Ron especially look like filthy teenage boys, and they're forgetting to put on deodorant, and there is no wizard solution for that. Like teenage BO is something that even magic can't overcome.
Which is a shame. They clearly don't have the D&D spell prestidigitation. 6 seconds and anything can smell wonderful.
Yeah.
I think Ron's family as a whole is my least favorite character of the whole series.
You don't like the Weasley twins?
The Weasley
twins.
twins.
The Weasley twins are so annoying.
They're so
I love
stupid.
the Weasley twins.
I like the Weasley
guys are all
parents.
about
I like all the
partying.
Weasleys. The twins are annoying. The twins are very much annoying.
I love them.
I find the mom and dad more annoying than the twins.
Really?
I
They're
think
a
the
little
mom and dad are
overbearing.
kind of
I
like
could see that.
overbearing, but very supportive too.
Well,
I
the
think.
dad, he's all over the place. Like sometimes he's like a badass like wizard for the government, and other times he has no idea what the fuck is going on.
I don't know if
He loves
he's like a
rubber ducks. There's nothing
badass
wrong with
wizard
that.
for a government. I think he's kind of he's kind of like a goofy dad who also has a day job as like a kind of bureaucrat.
Yeah, okay, so he's more of a bureaucrat than an actual agent.
Yeah, but I
Like,
think
don't
he's a
understand the
bureaucrat with a
ministry.
purpose. He's
Okay.
trying to like do good things and he seems very committed to his job.
What does he do?
He
at
works the ministry, Colin.
What does he do?
He's in the band Ministry, okay?
He works for the magic. The reason why he's obsessed with Muggle artifacts is that he works for, I forget the exact name of his department, but it takes care of any normal Muggle artifact that has been enchanted in a way, and then is sent back out into the Muggle world. So his job is to prevent any tinkering like that.
Another
so that-
magic dildo.
That's where he got his flying car.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, I get
So-
it. Now, that's coming together.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like, I don't know. I feel like the movies don't make that clear, and it does make him look like kind of a bumbler or a
Fuddy-duddy.
incompetent even.
Well, he's like kind of but he's like a dad with dad hobbies and dad interests and
Yeah,
goofy
okay.
dad stuff.
I get that.
I find it realistic. It's easy to buy because I've met people like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I feel like if like the information you had from reading the books, I felt like if I'd got it a little more, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I didn't watch close enough.
Yeah, or maybe
No, it's
it's
just I have a
maybe-
crazy memory. Anything that I take from pop culture, it's locked away forever.
It might be because some of this information was in the books and didn't make it to the movie because they were very smart and only made this a 2-hour movie instead of like an 8-hour movie or something. Which
Especially,
some
yeah.
of the other ones have felt
This
like.
one moves at a clip.
Yeah, this one's
This
flying.
one's pretty
This is
long.
peppy.
This is like
It's-
2.5.
No, it's like-
the
it's
second
only- I
longest
think it's-
book. But I feel that Newell took he extended some sequences that I don't think necessarily need to, and then other ones that should have had a little bit more explanation, they rip through. Like, for example, right here, Barty Crouch thinks that Harry did it just because he happens to be underneath the Dark Mark. It's a huge-ass Dark Mark over a giant field ground. There's a lot of people that could have cast that. In the books, what happened is it's actually cast with Harry's wand because the David Tennant, who's running around, he doesn't have a wand. He just broke out of Azkaban not that long ago. And so he's been hiding out and stuff. He sees Harry's wand, picks it up, casts the Dark Mark, drops it and runs away, and then they do a little thing
I don't know why they couldn't have done that here because that seems like they could have like
It
that
would
doesn't
not have
seem
taken that long, and it made it a lot more
seems like it's not that
understandable.
complicated.
Also, I hate how Newell portrayed the Crouches, both senior and junior. They're just so weird. They're cartoon characters.
We don't really get a lot of. I mean, speaking of chewing scenery, David Tennant. We don't get a lot of considering his star was on the rise here. I think he'd just been cast as Doctor Who.
Yep, I
around
think that
this
was around the right time.
And he was already a pretty well known actor, but it really doesn't have a lot to do. Does he?
Wasn't
pop
he the
up in
one
any of-
posing as Mooney the whole
No,
time?
yeah.
Yes, but that isn't.
But that's not Tennant. That
Spoiler.
is about the amount
But
of.
it's still that's Brendan Gleeson. That's not.
Yeah, I know.
David Tennant.
They didn't put him in a Gleason suit.
They
Yeah,
put David Tennant in a Brendan Gleeson.
That would
I
be
was
amazing.
I was under the impression that was him in a Gleason suit. No, I wasn't. Sorry.
It's so sweaty in here.
So that scene that we just watched where Harry gets separated and gets hit on the head and falls down and wakes up is yet another moment of us seeing just how dumb and incompetent Harry Potter actually is. I know like there's some wizard stuff that he might be good at. I don't know, whatever.
He's exactly good at three things in the magical world. He's good at Quidditch, Expelliarmus, and the Patronus charm. Those are the only three things he has ever shown, book and movie, that he is proficient at.
It's a good thing he's good at those because he's dumb at everything else and just like dumb in general. Like it's amazing that he's good at Quidditch since sometimes in the first movie he forgot to chase the thing that was the only thing that he was supposed to chase.
Yeah, he just sits there sometimes.
He just sits there sometimes. And then when he's asked to do something like, hey, kids, we've got to run and flee this terrible Death Eaters that are rampaging through the camp,
Like, is the
he immediately gets separated from everyone, like immediately, and then falls and hits his head. It's like you couldn't, like he's like the Inspector Clouseau of wizards, like just like a comedy of stupidity and
Is the Seeker allowed to be a part of the offense? Like, why isn't he making some passes or something?
Nope, you're not.
He has to sit there.
Yep.
Which makes it even more inexcusable that sometimes he just sort of spaces out and watches the game. He's like the Russell Westbrook of the Quidditch team. It's like incredible talent, but sometimes he's just like zoning out and not paying attention to what he's supposed to be doing.
So wait, why is the Seeker then like he like becomes like the coach? And how does he know anything about the actual gameplay if he literally just sits there and then chases the?
You can learn a lot by watching. But back on the Russell Westbrook thing,
fair.
I would love for there to be a scene in the Wizarding world where Harry Potter goes full Allen Iverson and he's talking about the game. He's like, "We're talking about practice, man. We're talking about practice, not the game, not the game. We're here sitting here talking about practice."
Yeah, I want to see problems with the Quidditch media. I also wanted to see like before the Death Eater riot, or the Death Eater mass murder at the World Cup. I wanted to see like a sports riot at the World Cup. Like Crumb wins so bad that they start magic flipping over magic cop cars or whatever. I don't know, something like that.
And someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but the other thing is they're supposed to be Death Eaters. They're supposed to be this big scary thing. They burned a few tents. As far as I remember, no one actually dies during that whole thing.
Oh, I thought they were just. I thought it was off screen or something.
As far as I remember in the book, there's no moment where they say all these people died.
What was the point of that then? What is the Death Eater's goal here? To
fear, intimidation?
That is a good question.
It's because they're gamblers. They were betting on the Quidditch World
Run
Cup.
away while you can. So that's actually something I wanted to bring up. So I asked before we started recording here how many had read the book or had read it recently. There is actually a whole gambling side story in the book. There's a guy named Ludo Bagman, and he bets
Nice.
Yes. And he bets on not the Irish, the other team, because he's so obsessed with Victor Crumb.
Of course.
And he bets with a bunch of goblins. And there's a whole side story where Harry keeps running into him, where he's hiding from the goblins that want their money because Ludo doesn't have the money.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
We're going so fast through this thing, and there's so many things that I want to say.
Because the story moves way too fast.
I like it.
They're
it's
at
great.
the World Cup in 5 minutes. 5 minutes into the movie,
That's
they're already at the World Cup.
Perfect.
Also, there's so much more movie though that I forgot the World Cup even happened. Like I watched it twice, and the second time I watched it, I was like, wait, this is the wrong one. This is the one with the World Cup.
I don't like that the gymnast in a leotard doesn't have an outfit that, like, her color scheme doesn't
match. Yeah,
the
she's
rest of
completely
them.
different. Yeah, they were blue
weird.
tassels, maybe.
What are these people called again? Where is this?
This
school?
is the Beau Battens School of Magic.
They're from France.
They're
I believe they're from France.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hold up. Let's go back to the World Cup for a sec. Did you guys notice right before what's the blonde bad guy's name? Long hair.
Lucius Malfoy.
Yes, Malfoy.
Yeah.
Right before he shows up, they kind of show like the different groups of people entering the place, and you see like a bunch of African-looking guys with like that look like they're from literally like Africa, or like that's the story in the Harry Potter world that I want to see, like the African like voodoo nation, like
That'd be
magic.
Amazing.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah.
Well, since you said we'll go back to the Quidditch Cup real quick, there is one major beef I told you that I have with this movie.
Just one?
And I have many, but the biggest one is that, and I understand we want to give David Tennant screen time, but maybe make him a different character, because first of all, I don't like how he portrays Barty Crouch Jr. But the main thing is that when you're reading the book, there's more mystery to it. Who is this mysterious person that did the Dark Mark? Who who is the person who's trying to kill Harry via the Triwizard Tournament. And that's why we have Karkaroff, who is revealed to be a Death Eater, and he's always suspicious. There's going to be a scene coming up here shortly where he sneaks in to the Goblet of Fire, and then that scene means literally nothing because he wasn't the one who enchanted it.
Yeah, they didn't really sell him as a red herring as much as they could have.
Because
You're right.
They reveal literally in the opening scene that David Tennant is there with Wormtail and
Voldemort,
frail Voldemort in the chair,
with the baby hand.
And then they later show at the Quidditch Cup, they show that David Tennant is the one who's doing the Dark Mark.
Yeah.
And then later we're going to have a scene where they reveal that Barty Crouch Jr. was a Death Eater, and that we need to capture him, put him in Azkaban, or sentence him to death. Like, they capture him there at the trial.
Yeah.
And so the whole time, he's the bad guy, where in the book, is it Karkaroff? Is it...
That would probably
Lucius Malfoy.
That would probably be more interesting. They definitely could have done a better job of that. Although I have to say I did not see Mad Eye Moody. I did not see that twist coming. So that was pretty good.
That reveal they do set up a little bit better, especially with the Polyjuice potions being stolen and Snape thinking it's Harry.
Yeah.
And especially that was just 2 years ago. It's like, had he not checked his store in 2 years? But they do set that up. But another time, again, it's just like, it's Barty Crouch Jr. and it kind of just, it's upsetting that it's revealed literally 30 seconds into the movie.
The whole Mad Eye Moody thing is really fun in the movie though, because like you end up you know he's bad, but you also like him, and because it's confusing because in reality, or not reality, in the story world, Mad Eye Moody is a good character, and he's like someone else is posing as him. Yes. So you get both of it. You get him being evil, but you also get him being quirky and likable.
It's kind of like he's like the tough professor who kind of breaks the rules, but he gets the message across. Yeah, exactly. Like he teaches them what they need to know,
and he like gives them a certain level of respect that they haven't gotten yet because they're like getting older.
And then you find out that it was all part of his nefarious plan because he's not even the guy that we thought he was. And then it's like, oh, so maybe. But the truth is, the real Mad Eye Moody is probably not even a good teacher and doesn't even want to be a teacher.
Well, that's what I thought would be funny. Like literally, the Mad Eye Moody that we know throughout this entire movie is not really him. So we've never actually seen how this character like really behaves. So it'd be funny if they bring him back in the next movie and he's got like a different accent. Or, he doesn't walk with a limp. Like
or he's like the kids are misbehaving and he's like, settle down, guys. Hey, take it easy. Hey, I want to be friends here and everything.
Come on, guys.
Can we all just chill out, guys? Hey, I don't want to have to start writing names on the board, okay? Speaking of which, we get cranky Dumbledore in this one, and I'm here for it. I love it.
Yeah, he's very cranky.
I like yelling Dumbledore.
He's very quick and agile.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We're very used to him being an old man.
It's a great meme. It's not at all correct.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, in this movie, it's A-okay. I love it.
We all say it together when he says it.
Yeah, I thought I as much as I love Richard Harris, I thought he was kind of like. He was clearly a very old man.
I actually do prefer Gambon, specifically from the third movie, because that's how I imagine Dumbledore.
Yeah. Well, I thought he was good in the third one. I like that he's sort of, I feel like he's a little more...
he's sarcastic.
A little more, yeah, but he's a little more, yeah, exactly. He's a little sarcastic, but he's a little more assertive in this one, which I felt like seemed like a natural progression for a character whose shit's getting out of control. He's not, he's trying to keep things together, but stuff's getting progressively worse.
I mean, we kept commenting on how in the first three movies he doesn't really fucking do anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like this one, he's at least starting to
I do like him being a little bit more active. I don't hate the performance overall, but the reason why a lot of book fans don't like the part where he screams, "Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" Is that it's always established that Dumbledore trusts Harry implicitly. So if Harry's like looking around dumbfounded, he's just, I have to ask the question, did you put the name in the Goblet of Fire? Whereas in this movie, he's running down the stairs, shouting, and it's like...
grabs him. And
that's like, not the Dumbledore we know.
Well, do you think maybe he's putting on like a bit of a show for the other teachers? Because isn't the whole thing with Dumbledore is that he pretty much like knows everything. He knows everything that's happening. Like,
I think he's got to do that. Otherwise, the other teachers would think he's doing something very inappropriate with Harry.
Inappropriate, like literally giving 210 points to Gryffindor at the last second.
Yeah, and that's not all.
I love this eyeball effect on Mad Eye Moody. I think it's pretty dope.
That's pretty much how I imagined it when I read it. It was something pretty much like that.
It's pretty fun.
Look at your stupid mop of hair.
Oh my God. Oh, by the way, I complain about Harry. Harry is the worst in everything and just infuriating on so many levels. And I've complained about him in every movie. Ron, who I have liked in most of these films, just snatches the most annoying, stupid character title from Harry in this movie. I hope this doesn't persist. It feels like a subplot that they didn't build out enough.
I would say this is like
we get bitchy Ron in this.
We get bitchy Ron. We get disloyal Ron.
Remember, it's only this movie.
Yeah.
And then it's actually in the last movie too.
We get like Ron, who's just like, he's just like whining about how Hermione's got a date and he can't have a date, and then he's like, I just so
the whining.
And then the whole like, oh, he doesn't like Harry gets his name put in the goblet, and he automatically assumes that Harry did it, even though you're his best friend. You're with him like 100% of the time. Yeah.
Well,
when is he gonna like? You guys literally sleep together in like 3 feet away in beds.
Yeah, it's not Rupert Grint's fault. It is just it's a major plot.
No, I still think he's the best actor of the three of them, but it's a terrible character.
I think Radcliffe
change.
is particularly bad in this one. Actually.
He is he. It's like he regressed from being bad to being slightly worse in this.
Well, he's really bad when he does like emotion, when he has to like cry or get angry about something.
I can't disagree. I had heard that talked about in the previous episodes, and I can't disagree that Radcliffe, kind of just like sleepwalks through this franchise. But I love that he made all the money on this, and now he's doing the most interesting work. I love everything Daniel Radcliffe has done post Harry Potter.
Did you guys see the trailer for the Weird Al movie?
Yes, it came out today.
I don't know why he's such a handsome Weird Al. That doesn't make any sense.
He's like shirtless.
I think that's definitely wrong, but I'm here for the Weird Al movie for sure.
Weird Al's great.
Emma Watson's back to her full on like overacting. In this movie, I know Schatz will probably disagree.
I can't say anything bad about Emma Watson. I will skip over that topic.
She's not as bad as Radcliffe, but she did seem like she was getting better in the last movie. I think they both took a little bit of a step back. Although she's asked to do a lot in this without like a lot of scenes to build out the character. She's asked to like just have emotional moments. This is the scene that we're watching is where Mad Eye teaches them the three unforgivable curses, and when she leaps to Neville's defense here, it's very forced. Also, why does she care? But
why does Neville care?
Why does Neville care? Yeah,
I can explain this. So Neville is so upset about this because his
vegetarian.
Mom, they hint at it very briefly. They don't really talk about it, but there's a very quick reference to it in the movie. It's talked about much more in the books. Neville is raised by his aunt and uncle. Or no, grandmother, because his parents are in a hospital. They lost their minds because they were tortured with that curse to the point of insanity.
I knew that one.
Well, don't they say that when we see the Barty Crouch Jr. trial? Don't they say the Longbottoms were
that's
tortured?
The quick reference to it in this.
Okay, so I caught that.
Yeah.
No, I got all that backstory from that one.
It actually does make sense. It's just like the bug.
40 pages of
the
backstory.
bug thing that he's torturing is kind of like a gross bug.
Yeah,
it looks like a Starship Troopers bug.
Yeah, if he had tortured a cute bug,
I love the way I love the way he like performs the role where like Neville is almost having a breakdown. And Hermione is screaming, and he like didn't even notice because he's like so wrapped up.
He's
in
into
torturing
it.
The bug.
He's into evil curses.
Yeah.
We should have known this was coming.
Yeah,
but I mean, I thought that,
guy.
but
He's
like
clear.
at the same time, when you don't know that he's really the bad guy in disguise, everything he does makes sense.
Yeah.
For his character because he's helping Harry out. We like that.
That part is all well written.
He's also very like he's also. He's been chasing around dark wizards. He says he's had to think like them, and he's clearly like on the edge of the dark side. He's one of those cops that's gone too far, and
he's also actually
into the mind of the killers.
He's also actually teaching them defense against the dark arts, which
right.
like several of the teachers don't even do.
Right here, I love that.
Yep, just ripped straight from In Cold Blood.
Yep, the teardrop.
I
appreciate that.
Yeah, a little Mike Newell with a little movie reference.
What has Mike Newell directed other than this?
I think
4 Weddings and a Funeral is like big. That's what put him on the map.
Thank you. I was like, I know there's one movie.
There's something else that I read.
He's done a lot of things that we would know. If somebody had a computer out, they could look at it.
If only.
It's not convenient to have my computer out at your garage, so that's why we've stopped doing that. But
what's his name?
Mike Newell.
not to be confused with Mike Oldle.
Oh man, he looks like he should be a character in one of these movies. Like
he's the first
looks.
British director that we've had directing a Harry Potter movie, right?
All right,
because Chris Columbus.
Donnie Brasco.
Donnie Brasco. That was the other one.
That's the one with Johnny Depp and
Al Pacino.
I've seen Donnie Brasco.
No, there's a lot of stuff he does here that
Mona Lisa
works.
Smile.
There's a couple things
Yeah.
that doesn't.
He's done many things.
The Prince of Persia movie?
Mona Lisa Smile, the Julia Roberts movie,
Wait,
right? Not Moaning Lisa Smile, the music video by my favorite band.
Your
Not
favorite band
that,
is
no.
Wolf Alice?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I've seen them live. I'm a
Me-
big Wolf Alice fan.
This is amazing. I never get to meet another Wolf Alice fan. I'm
'cause
absolutely
they're
obsessed.
They're from the UK, so like a lot of people don't know them yet, but they're really, really good.
Thank you.
I've got
This was a nice surprise.
Matt, stop reading whatever you're reading before this turns into a Wolf Alice podcast.
I'm here for it.
I've got 3 Wolf Alice albums on vinyl.
My Love Is Cool album is signed.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is it the So there's more than one.
The big box set?
Yeah. Okay.
I
Yeah.
have
That's.
that.
I don't have that.
I had a friend who lives in the UK ship it to me because they did not sell it in the US.
Yeah, they don't sell it.
Yeah, every
That's
scene
fucking
with these
sweet.
Weasley twins just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah.
And why do they
them.
why
I
do they
love the
fight
Weasley
with
twins.
each other when their spell doesn't work? They both have the same problem. They both they were in it
It's
together.
funny.
Yeah, I guess.
And
it's
when
annoying.
it's like British funny.
I like
guess.
this.
I
I
like
like
British
this
humor.
kid who's always hanging around getting into trouble. The stupid kid.
Seamus Finnegan?
If you say so, I don't think they've said his name so far in the
Oh,
show.
the other
You just
Gryffindor
pointed out.
guy who's like
You're
the
right, though.
slapstick, that guy
You're
on
right.
the left.
He's clearly
like that.
Irish.
That's Seamus Finnegan.
He looks like
Yeah.
a Seamus Finnegan.
The
You've
little
not
one?
seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen such a little dead-eyed,
Irish
faintly
kid?
ginger Irish face. Yeah, that's.
Wow.
So
What do you have against the
because I'm on
Irish?
this episode, not the next episode, I have to say my favorite Weasley twins moment is in the next episode because you're going to get Imelda Staunton, who absolutely kills it by playing Umbridge, the most hateable character in the franchise. And when the Weasley twins basically take down her reign on the school by like turning the Great Hall into a swamp, when I read that in the book, I cheered. I love the Weasley twins. Fred and George are great.
Yeah, but also annoying.
Yeah, very, very annoying.
I will stand alone on this.
Got a question about this whole concept of guest schools coming in. Like, this is obviously it's a big place, but it always seems to be full of Hogwarts kids.
Mm-hmm.
So, how are they able to, for like, I don't know how long these other folks are visiting.
The whole
but the whole fucking year. The whole goddamn fucking year. They're able to like triple the size of their school without making like major architectural changes or any.
So
that sounds insane.
They don't
to me.
bring the whole
magic.
school. They just bring the ones that are eligible for the tournament. So
Yeah,
they're not
I
bringing the whole
see.
school.
I
And then
see.
it is established in the books that they are staying in their modes of transportation that came here.
Oh.
So
So all the girls
Beauxbatons
are
are
just
staying
chilling
in
in
the
that
carriage.
carriage?
It's probably a magical carriage that's got the
Okay.
bigger
Ah,
space.
okay.
And then Durmstrang kids go back onto the boat.
Got it.
Okay, but also
boat's
there's
pretty
I have a lot of questions, and I'm sure there are answers.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so the Triwizard Tournament. Do they say ever like how often they do this thing? Is it once every 10 years? If it
It's
Once
has to
every
be 5 to 10
three
years,
wizards.
This is the first time they're doing it in several years. They were revising the tournament because they had it off for several years because
Too
kids were
dangerous.
dying.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long it's been since the last time they held the tournament.
and it's just random, like they just surprise the kids, like, "Hey, we're having the Triwizard Tournament."
I
this
thought
year.
that was so dumb that they watch all the Hogwarts kids are watching the boat and the carriage appear, and then they seemingly are surprised when those students walk in. It's like, yeah, you probably would have heard about it. So that was very little silly. But in the book, it is established that no one was aware that the Triwizard Tournament was happening.
Whiz.
Yeah, I love it. Triwizard Cup says whiz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, whiz here.
On that, I actually want to say the dumber thing is how the Arthur Weasley was bringing all his family to the Quidditch World Cup, but didn't tell them. They're like, "Hey, Dad, where are we going?" That's like taking your kids to the Super Bowl and then not telling them you're going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's a cool surprise, but I wanted to dress up for it. No, instead I'm just wearing like hiking boots and I'm at the Quidditch World Cup and I'm like, what the hell, man?
Yeah, that is weird.
It's also
But so-
dangerous.
Although when I was a kid, my parents loaded us into the car and drove us down to Florida to Disney World, which was pretty cool. That we did not know that was coming.
Yeah, but that's less
Nice
something
surprise.
you dress up for than like a sporting event.
Right.
Like you want to support a team.
They all got some makeup.
Well,
on
so if
them.
you're
I
gonna
saw
do
them.
that, you need to be the kind of parent who, like, oftentimes, like, just like tosses your kid in the car and locks the doors and starts driving, and like just
Yeah.
doesn't say anything.
Look
and you
at
just
Ron.
do it
Look at
over
Ron
and over
already
again.
getting a pissy look at his face. Fucking Ron, what's going on with you, bud?
So Harris, here's something you guys will all agree with me on. one like annoying thing that annoyed me about the Triwizard Tournament is that they've got all these students in this school, in all 3 of these schools, and the way it works is they only choose one kid who gets to like essentially play in this tournament, you know, and it's like a year-long thing or however long. And I was like, that's kind of messed up for a school. You've got all these kids. Like, don't you want them all to participate? Like a sporting, like, you know, you could all join soccer. You could all play basketball or whatever. But this Triwizard Tournament is just for one special kid. And then I was thinking, actually, USC kind of does this bullshit in the film program.
Oh, yeah.
Directing a 546?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They choose one out of, like, all, you know, the hundreds of kids or whatever.
I'm a sucker for competition,
not the best.
So I can't hate it, but I definitely see your point. Yeah. Definitely, having also not been selected for any 546 or 547s as a director, I totally get it. But yeah, like I said, I'm a sucker for competition. So like I like the idea of the Triwizard Tournament, at least reading it in a fictional sense. One last trivia tidbit on that. So on the school things, supposedly they rotated the schools. So then like if this were to continue, like the next time it would be either held at Durmstrang or Beauxbatons.
Oh, I thought you were saying it would be 3 totally different schools. Like,
no, not
ostensibly,
that I know.
there's more than 3 magic schools in the world.
Yeah,
right?
are there more magic schools than these 3? Like there
you
have
would
to
think
be, right?
so, because they established there's an American wizarding community
and the Irish
in the later ones. Yeah,
they did the Irish team.
And
right,
Matt
school.
referenced the African
wizards?
nation.
Well, the Irish kids are just
those
going
are
Hogwarts.
Quidditch teams, not schools necessarily.
Yeah, but like the wizarding is done all over the world.
Yes.
It's just this. I guess this
So
is
maybe
just like
it does
the Europe
rotate
region.
to other schools, but I think as far as I remember, it's these 3 schools. Maybe
'Cause
there's
they're
a
the
different
European
cup
ones?
for other 3 ones.
Maybe we caught her.
Okay.
Maybe we caught her. Maybe we caught JK in a mistake.
So what if you're from like Italy? Do you choose whether or not to go to the French one or the? Oh wait, no, but one's all boys and one's all girls, right?
Yeah,
Well,
which
that's a difference from the book, right?
I believe so.
I read that on the IMDb trivia.
It's been a while since I've read the book, but from what I remember, I think it is not necessarily all boys or girls. I think that was a decision. Mike Newell wanted these cool, like a feminine dance in blue skirts, and then the Durmstrangs are fire magicians, apparently.
They must wear blue nipple hats.
I approve of it. I approve of it all.
Oh, we skipped. We missed over the Harry. Did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?
I didn't miss it.
Yeah,
I saw it too.
Yeah, it was
he
there.
got up on him. He
was right up in
put
his
his
mug.
body on him.
Yep.
Why Dumbledore?
One thing that I thought was really subtle that they did really well in this was because we've seen Cedric Diggory.
Can you dig it?
Batman.
Yeah, we've seen Cedric Diggory get selected. I thought it was really cool how they make the Cedric Diggory character like he knows Harry and Ron and all these guys because their family went on a vacation together, and he was like cool with them. You know, he helped Harry up off the ground, and you know, he's like the older guy that everyone thinks is really cool. And then they get back to school, and he kind of ignores him. Yeah. And they're like, "Hey, congratulations, Cedric!" And he's like, doesn't even like he's hanging out with his friends.
So that's relatable. Like when you were a kid, did you ever go on a vacation or something with?
I thought it was perfect. I thought it was great. I thought it was like so spot on.
Very relatable.
Yeah. I thought it was so spot on. And then like later when like the other kids are making fun of Harry, Cedric doesn't like step in, and he's not like, "Hey guys, knock it off. Harry's a pal of mine. We went to the World Cup together."
But then tries to explain his way out of it. But he's like, "Hey, I told them not to wear the thing."
He comes over later. He's like, "Hey, is nobody watching? Nobody can see us, right? Okay, hey, listen, I wanted to straighten this out because I'm a nice guy, you know."
Harry's like, "Whatever."
I think like story wise they do a good job of this character who is just introduced to be someone who gets killed off later. Spoiler again, sorry.
We have to introduce him in the first 5 minutes, otherwise you're not going to be sad if he dies.
They do a good job of getting you to care about this
exactly
guy.
And creating like a dynamic with the other characters so that it kind of means something later.
He's got a classic intro too. He just drops down from a tree. It's like,
yeah.
He's Batman.
He is Batman. We're having a lot of spoilers for what happens later in this movie. I'm thinking, should we just go over the plot quickly?
Is anyone listening that hasn't seen the movie? They want the synopsis from us?
Well, this started off that we need to do a synopsis because we do so much bouncing around on this show, like from the beginning to the end and back and forth.
It's better
that we just need to get the plot out of the way for people who haven't seen the movie.
All right, you ready, Matt?
I'm never ready, but sure.
We've got 2 minutes on the clock, and go.
Okay, so this movie starts off, Harry is having a dream where we reveal that Voldemort is like corporeal and he's in the world, and there's worm tail.
Yes.
You spent
Yes.
a lot of time on the first 4 minutes of the movie.
Yep. And there's another guy who we don't know, and Harry doesn't know who he is either. He wakes up and he's on his way to the Triwizard Tournament. No, sorry, the Quidditch World Cup, which is like the actual World Cup for Quidditch. It's a big international affair, and that gets ruined by the Death Eaters, who are these guys in skull masks, and they light shit on fire, but they don't kill anyone. Harry sees the mysterious guy from his dream, and he puts his wand up into the air, and it makes a big skull thing, and that's like Voldemort's signal or whatever. Then we go to school, and it's the Triwizard Tournament, which everyone's like, what the fuck is that? And they explain that it's like 3 schools, and they face off. One student from each school gets selected to do a bunch of torturous and dangerous games where whoever wins gets a trophy that says Wizard. A new teacher is introduced, Mad-Eye Moody. He's, of course, the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. He seems like a cool dude. He's got a crazy eye, and he helps Harry find out a bunch of stuff about the tournament. He gets the inside info from him. But what else happens? Oh, there's a dance.
There's the Triwizard Tournament.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. You could
Stop throwing me off. Extra time.
Oh my God, you're so
You want me to do this?
you were fucked.
You
You were
can't
fucked
just
from the
say
beginning.
extra time to get extra time.
There's a Yule dance or something, and where they introduce hormones in this movie. Hermione gets pissed because Ron doesn't ask her to the dance. Then there's the Triwizard Tournament. There's like the water thing where there's mermaids and stuff, and they have to save some dead kids under the water who drown. That's pretty messed up. And then the final thing is they have to go through a maze. Harry and Cedric get transported into a graveyard where they find what's his name, Voldemort, and he's revealed for the first time. He kills Cedric, and they have a little wand battle, and then Harry is whisked back via the trophy, and he tells everyone that Voldemort's back, and I'm way over time, and that's pretty much it. How does it end?
That is pretty much it. And they see the people leave. The other schools leave.
Yes, and it's beautiful.
It was perfect time for the synopsis because it was the Rita Skeeter scene, which plays more of a part in the book, but is really no effect in this movie whatsoever, and is against the part where the pacing where is like in 5 minutes, like so much happens in the first 5 to 10 minutes of this movie, and then we have scenes like the Rita Skeeter scene that don't really play an impact on the plot.
And
Also,
she's the reporter, right?
Yes.
Is that the character's name or the actress's name?
No, that's the character's name, Rita Skeeter.
Rita
But
Skeeter.
I'll say a subplot which I totally understand why it's cut from the movie, but would have been fascinating to have been in the movie from the book is a subplot in the book is that Hermione gets really into elf rights and kind of gets into like the magical racism of the magic and wizarding world, where all the elves are slaves. So she starts a whole underground movement called the House Elf Liberation Front.
Awesome.
And she goes into the Hogwarts kitchens and tries to get all the elves to rebel.
I vaguely remember that.
That sounds like a pretty good movie.
Right?
Yeah, 'cause I
that
think
would have been
Dobby-
fascinating to have watched.
Dobby was supposed to be in this one in the beginning.
She's
and
like the
then
Patty
cut him
Hearst
out.
of elf rights.
Dobby was also supposed to be part of the House Elf Liberation Front. Right now, it's not in the movie, but Dobby is working in the Hogwarts kitchens, and Dobby is getting paid.
Nice.
What I was thinking when you first said
In socks?
Dobby is
actual
working.
money.
My first thought was like, Dobby got work after these movies? What
Yep.
is he doing now? Where's Dobby today?
But he does have a particular fondness for socks, so he wears like socks as like mittens and like hats.
Does he do the Red Hot Chili Peppers thing?
Give it away now.
Why does the
Do you know what I'm referencing?
Yes.
socks on your genitalia? That's what we're.
Yep,
That's
socks
what,
on the dingling.
Socks on the genitals.
I also love that you get amazing Academy Award nominee at this point, and then eventual winner Gary Oldman, and he's reduced to firewood.
Yeah, I
I'm
also
glad
love.
they got him at all.
I also love that Harry is amazed to see a face in the fire. Like, what?
You've experienced this magic before. You have been transported via fireplace.
At some point, you've got to stop being surprised that weird shit is happening. You live in a wizarding world.
Yeah, you've done your own magic stuff yourself.
Yeah.
You're in the Triwizard Tournament. Like, get your shit together, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, seriously.
Schatz, do you think that in our lifetime we will see these movies remade?
Really? I don't.
I would prefer they don't, but I think it's inevitable.
You know Hollywood loves money, right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's why I said I think it's inevitable, but I just personally don't want to because I think these were done, like, as much as I'm griping on Goblet of Fire because you chose me for this one, I still like the movie, and there's a lot of good stuff that they did in this movie, and I don't want to see it remade, but I think it will be eventually remade.
I think, yeah, these movies hold up. They're not, like, a lot of times movies need to be remade kind of because
Like King Kong.
they're
Like,
dated.
I totally understood why King Kong was remade. Like, the technology's better. I still... I don't know if it
Well, I
was
think
done.
that's an argument for remaking the first couple of these movies because the technology was not good.
We're going to just remake the first 3 Harry Potter
We're just going to
films.
remake the troll in the bathroom.
Just accept that Fluffy looks a little weird.
Yeah.
But there's still so much charm. I wouldn't want to see them remade.
I think if you remade these, I think you would have to like do a total teardown. You couldn't be so
like Harry Potter's now a girl.
you couldn't adhere to maybe not that, but
everyone.
maybe not that, but you couldn't adhere to the book so strongly. You'd have to take the premise of this special orphan boy finding out that he's a wizard and being introduced to this world, and then kind of be flexible with the plot.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to see that done.
And basically, you might at that point you might as well probably just make a different story.
The
set in
interesting
the same world.
And I think like maybe remake certain films could be individual films could be made better, but you're not going to beat Prisoner of Azkaban. I will stand by my statement on that.
The interesting thing about it is if you were to remake these movies, like this is a story that's ultimately told. It begins when they are children and it ends when they're like, teenagers and more or less adults,
It's a coming of age franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were to remake it, like, okay, one idea I had was to like make it serious, like get rid of all the goofy shit and just have it be like kind of a straight thing. But you can't do that. No one wants to watch
gritty
a movie.
reboot.
Gritty reboot.
Yeah.
I'm
Reboot
rolling
of
my
Harry Potter.
eyes.
I'm looking
The first
forward to
scene
it.
is like seeing Harry Potter's parents die. Like,
Zack
horribly.
Zack Snyder's Harry Potter.
Oh God. Oh.
I'm kind of loving this. I think this is good.
Slow motion as like the mother's pearls are ripped off of her neck and like they bounce on the ground.
They cast adult actors and they de-age them to play their child selves. I'm liking this. I think this is a great idea. No, I think you could actually go the other way with it and make it more of a kid-friendly movie too. Like keep the kind of goofy tone, lean into that a little bit, and make it like kind of a fun, wacky. Hey,
even up through the end, which I mean, you'll see how dark
Yeah.
it gets.
In your gritty reboot,
Look at him giving Harry this shitty look. What a dick! Oh my God, Ron.
in your gritty reboot, does Carl Urban play?
Yes.
Play Professor Dumbledore.
Something. No,
Harry,
they-
did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? You fucking cunt!
No, Carl Urban can play Harry. He can play Harry Potter, and we'll just de-age him so he looks like a boy, and then we'll grow him into his normal.
Yeah, I didn't ask ahead of time. Is there a rating on this? Did I just ruin it by dropping the C-bomb?
There is no rating. You can say
I was
You're
like,
a
if
wizard,
I'm gonna
Harry.
do Carl Urban impressions from The Boys, you have to drop
you
that
have
word.
to say cunt. Yes.
Fucking cunt.
No.
So wait, are we saying that Hagrid never swears in any of these movies?
There's stuff that they say that's like only swears in the wizarding world. They always say
Yeah.
Merlin's beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone were to drop an F-bomb, which character would necessitate? Who would be the one to do it?
It's got to be Dumbledore.
Yeah, I think
It's
Dumbledore.
got to be Dumbledore.
That makes sense to me.
Well, actually, that's the funniest. But honestly, it would probably be Mad-Eye Moody.
Yeah, I could see him too. But
mean,
I
he's-
feel like Dumbledore's more deserving of it.
Oh yeah.
He's just in the Great Hall. He's like, "Shut the fuck up, kids."
Yeah, I couldn't believe how the shit got out of hand in the Great Hall when they have the guy from the ministry come and explain that only 18-year-olds will be allowed. Like here, they have this freaking dignitary and all these guests coming to the school, and this guy says, "Oh, you got to be 18," and the kids are like the fucking annoying
Screaming
Weasley
rubbish.
twins are like, "Rubbish, rubbish, that's rubbish." I'm surprised
Continuing
Dumbledore didn't just zap them all right there. Just like put them all, like zap them directly to Azkaban or something. Be like, no, straighten this shit out. This is Hogwarts. We don't do this shit here.
Continuing my defense of the Weasley twins, the reason why they're so upset, they don't specify, but that aging potion was literally like a number of days because they missed the cutoff by seriously a number of days. So that's why they were so upset. It's like imagine like if you were like
That's what I thought it was
trying to
going
aim
on.
for the Olympics,
Yeah.
but your birthday just ends up being on that fucking shit day
Here's the
where you are out of the loop for another 2 years. No, actually, no, 4 years, because you're probably training for a specific sport. Yeah. You have to wait 4 years because you missed out because you were born on the wrong day.
That changes things a little bit, but in not defense of the Weasleys, they're delusional if they thought they were getting picked from Hogwarts anyways.
They are actually particularly good wizards. They are actually astonishingly good wizards. They're just goofy, but they start up an amazing business, and like look at those charms
they
put
drop
on all
out
those
of
toys.
school and they're successful in the private
They're
sector.
literally geniuses. They just have the demeanor of a child.
And just look at them compared to Cedric Diggory, and you're like, yeah, they had no chance. Just look at the man.
I honestly think that being silly like this,
I'm not hearing a single thing you're saying because I'm lost in his eyes.
Understandable. I think the Weasley twins would have done very well in the Triwizard Tournament
if they were picked over the clearly better candidate here.
How are we saying that?
Disagree.
Why do we keep saying the twins? Like you have to pick one of them. You know, like they can't compete as two people
in the actual thing. But you know that they're like in preparation for the event, they're coming up with plans,
and they look identical, so they could be switching at any time.
Are they played by the same actors throughout the whole series?
Yes. An actually fun little tidbit. I think during this movie, I'm not sure if it was this one, but during one of the movies, they did a number of days where they swapped roles. Like Fred played George and George played Fred, just to fuck with the cast and crew.
Wow. We're that unimportant. Isn't Domhnall Gleeson in one of the later movies?
Yes, he plays the oldest brother, Bill.
Oh, okay. Who we have not seen yet?
Not yet.
Well, here's you keep on telling me that Malfoy's sidekicks are going to get arrested and not be in these movies, and they're in every one of them.
Yeah, I'm starting to think that's just one of those like
urban
legends, like the Wizard of Oz. You know, like the what do you call it? Munchkin hanging himself in the background, kind of.
We're gonna have to do some research.
Yeah, Schatz,
but they
do you know
keep
anything
on
about this?
Showing up.
They get arrested.
There's a rumor
that one of these henchmen.
The actors for one of these does change in the later movies. I don't know what the reason
maybe just
why,
hasn't
but
happened
there
yet.
is another goon that shows up in the later movies, and I never understood why.
There was in the last movie, like both of the normal
like
goons, Crabbe and Goyle, were both in the last movie, but then halfway through the movie, it's like Crabbe and someone else who we've never seen.
Yeah, but Goyle
before.
was in a lot of scenes though, still, and now he's back in this one.
Yeah,
so I feel like it couldn't be because he was arrested.
I believe it's one of the later ones. I don't remember exactly, but I want to say Half-Blood Prince. There's another person for some reason.
Well, we'll have to research at some point during our run here.
Unfortunately, I do
at
not
some
know.
point,
the
we
true
will
story
do
behind that.
research.
At some point, I will open the
I've
internet.
been able to answer a lot of questions. I'm sorry I couldn't answer that one.
Maybe not now.
You are a
Maybe
horrible
not later.
disappointment. Crabbe and Goyle, they mentioned that Crabbe and Goyle are two of the bad guys at the end of this movie.
Yes,
though.
their parents are the Death Eaters.
Yeah,
at the,
exactly. So we find out that like Crabbe and Goyle and Malfoy are all
not surprising.
Nitpicky here. So it is revealed that Mad-Eye Moody doesn't have a leg, and now the Polyjuice Potion does change those things. So you would like lose a limb during the Polyjuice Potion, but when he transforms back into Doctor Who at the end of this movie, I wanted to see that leg go flying because obviously a leg is growing.
Yeah, right.
But they missed out. That would have been great.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where they really could have got a leg up on the competition.
That was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, his hair is just fucking awful. And this Harry, what is going on? Like just some.
Does that mean my long hair is bothering you?
Shampoo. No, it's dark in here, so it's not right now. But
I have a
I'm
very
not
good
looking
reason
at you
for
right
growing
now,
out my
so
hair.
you're safe.
yeah,
Did you guys notice the Death Eater costumes sort of look like they're in like the KKK?
Yes.
I was
little
honestly
bit, yeah.
really disappointed with how they portrayed the Death Eaters. Like it's got like this Party City Halloween like half skull mask. It's like that's not even really hiding your identity that much, it looks
And
cheap.
it's not magical. It's just a mask.
Well, it is revealed to be magical because Voldemort like makes it disappear.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you have the magic. You could have made any sort of mask.
That's in the scene where he kills Cedric?
Yes.
He does that? Yeah, okay, I remember that now.
And it's like you have this magic. You can make any mask, and you make this cheap Party City knockoff.
Yeah.
You could have done something cool like Phantasm from Mask of the Phantasm, the best Batman movie.
See,
don't get
I
Colin
can't
started.
stop thinking about.
You guys should just hang out on your own time.
Yeah, it
and
sounds like
talk
you two
about-
would really-
Yeah, I love Mask of the
Get along.
Phantasm. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's great. I keep thinking about like what are the wizarding equivalents of like some of the things that we have in our world, like Party City, but also just now when you were talking about Billy Weasley, I was like, Is there like a Wizarding World equivalent of Buffalo Wild Wings? Because then you could go to B-dubs with B-dub.
What the fuck?
That took a turn I did not expect.
I feel like
Welcome to the show.
no, they just have all these same things. They don't need a wizard party city. They can just go to regular party city. It's selling the same shit.
Right.
Okay.
Can I point out something insane? I was just noticed in the wide. I didn't think about it because usually they're in the stone pit with the dragon, but in the wide establishing shot of this this tournament paddock, they showed that it was all made out of wood, like something would have been built. They're magicians; they could have used anything. You built a wooden paddock for a dragon fight?
Yeah.
Did you want the audience to die? Like you could
I
have
don't think
easily
they
done a Greek pavilion, style stadium with stone steps and stuff. But no, they went for wooden paddock.
Is it perhaps magic wood?
That
Possibly
could be.
fire
That
resistant.
could be.
As much as
enchanted
they
wood.
they want us to believe that like all the wizards are good and stuff, like I don't think they care much about the lives of the other wizards. That like,
The safety regulations. There's clearly no wizard.
Nothing.
OSHA.
There is no. Yes,
Yeah.
there is no ministry equivalent. Ministry of Magic equivalent of OSHA.
Yeah, there's no wizard OSHA. No way.
I like that part when Crumb tells the reporter lady to fuck off.
Like when they were at the Wizard
His
World
best
Cup,
moment.
I was wondering like how much collateral damage for a Quidditch World Cup is there? Like, can you die as like a spectator by getting hit by like a loose
You have to
snitch?
sign a
Almost
waiver.
bludger?
Yeah, you have to sign a waiver. And those brooms are like flying right overhead.
Oh
and-
yeah, the brooms. They're going like how what is the like miles per hour equivalent of broom flight?
Yeah.
The
Or knots?
firebolt.
I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. They do specify the speeds in the book. The
Wow.
firebolt does go the fastest. I do not remember how fast it goes. And
Well, like because
I wish I did.
yeah, wow, I don't know. I'd love to know.
All we know is that the Horntail, just based on its name and appearance, is like the most threatening one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And that is a thing in the book as well. Like you knew it was going to happen in the book. There is the scene where Hagrid shows Harry. Now the cool thing is they make Hagrid a lot more like a buddy in that scene, because in the book he just fucks off with the giant lady. He is so enamored, so he's like, "Hey, I want to show you something," and then disappears. So Hagrid
wanted
and
to
Harry
see-
never
that's a-
talk about it.
Yeah.
I wanted to see more of Hagrid and the giant lady. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was really interested.
That's
in
a
that.
fetish that we've tried to keep off the podcast up until now.
Do we talk
Yeah.
about that?
That's that's a yeah. We try not to. We try to keep that on.
I would have liked to see a
keep
scene
that-
of them
keep that
snogging, as they
behind
say.
the paywall. Behind the paywall, Colin.
Okay, sorry.
Put that on your Patreon.
Hey Harris, I think something tells me that Schatz would be really good at top 4. I feel like we're ready to.
Oh, yeah?
Top
It's
4?
about that
Top 4
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's, we can do that when
Real quickly, I looked it up. The firebolt, Harry's broom, and in the canon of the original series, is established to be the fastest broom. Goes up to 150 miles per hour.
Ooh, that's really fast.
You could clearly decapitate yourself if you do the wrong thing. So what is top 4?
So top 4 is a game that we play where we take turns guessing round robin style what the top 4 movies based on IMDb's recommendation are for a particular actor. So, you ever look up like Tom Cruise and like it shows 4 movie posters.
So IMDb, this is the audience rating.
It's
No, it's not the most popular. It's not the most anything. It's just which are the 4 movies that they say, because they're not going to put every movie up
they
at the top.
put the known
They
4.
put the known
and
4
they just
movies.
randomly, we
They
don't know what
seem
the
to
criteria
it's
is.
somewhat
we don't
random.
know what the criteria is.
Got
exactly.
it.
Yeah,
That's why
so,
it's fun.
So that's why it's fun. It's also why it's
Yeah.
infuriating. And we've
I'm
done,
into this.
we've done a number of these people.
Oh, there's a couple of new ones we
already.
could do.
There are a couple of new
Did
ones.
you already do Emma Watson?
I'm looking at them.
I'm sorry. I'm just
And-
150 miles per hour. Like, think of all the airbags you have in your fucking Prius to go 70. Okay, and like you're on a flying fucking stick.
That's why I said decapitate.
You could do Brendan Gleeson. You could do
Yeah,
Ray Fiennes.
I'm looking at what their things are because
Okay.
some of them are challenging, I would say, so far.
You could do Pattinson. Although, did we do him for?
I don't
The
think
Batman?
so, only because I'm looking at him and he would have been a terrible one for that and for this, honestly.
Damn.
Let's.
You do Clemence Posey. I don't know. if I'm
God,
saying
can you
her
name
right.
another movie that she's in?
Yeah,
I would
she's
be
in.
impressed.
Does she
Wait,
Clemens
why aren't
Posey,
we-
does she play the giant from Bo Battens?
No, she's the pretty one from Bo Battens.
Why aren't we
Oh,
doing
okay.
Robert Pattinson?
Oh,
Everyone seems to want to do Robert Pattinson. Let's do him.
okay.
All right, so
everyone wants to do him.
Yeah.
Are you sure we didn't do him? I think we.
I'm looking at him, and
we guessed. I remember guessing like, I don't want to say it, but definitely guessing some movies that he was in.
Yeah, we did it when we did the Batman. I think we.
Oh, did we? Then
Yeah.
okay, then I've got to find somebody else.
But our fans
Remember
won't
we
get
guessed
to
like
hear the
New
Batman
Moon
episode unless they subscribe to our Patreon for only $1 a month.
That's true.
Good plug. Good plug.
I do. This is the one scene that goes on that I'm actually in support of, because I actually do enjoy this whole dragon chase, especially when they get to the roof of the tower, which I believe is where I believe it's the tower that Dumbledore's office is on, and it's like crawling over. It just gave me like good monster movie vibes.
It is a good sequence in that it looks good, and it's like the whole vibe of it is great.
It
and
doesn't.
it changes up. It's not just chase the whole time. There's the whole part where he's trying to get his broom because of this moment right here where he's on the
falls,
roof.
right.
I like that whole bit. That's
So
what
we're saying that it doesn't drag on.
Oh my god. It reminds me of the pod racing scene from episode 1.
You mean the best part of episode 1, other than the fact that it helped Keira Knightley's career?
Yes, but what sucks about that scene and this is that, like, if you're a spectator, you can't see any of this. Like, they don't know what's going on.
Oh, it sucks for the people in the storyline. Absolutely. And it was the same thought had occurred to me the first time I watched this. I'm like, no one knows what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And they should have had some sort of like Super Mario, like the little guy in the cloud.
Yes.
Like wizard screens.
Yeah.
I would have
We talked
totally
about
done
this
that.
in the last episode, that like for a wizarding world, they don't have a lot of like security cameras or anything like that. Like half the mysteries that happen in this castle could be solved if they just had like a little camera in the corner, you know?
Does he not have his wand at this point? Because it seems like he's going through a lot of trouble that having a wand could probably solve.
I believe he does have his wand, and also
Because that's how he got the broom with the
I'm
wand.
He
sure
is super
there
dumb,
was-
so he might just forget that he has a wand. So.
This is. I don't believe this is mentioned in the book, and I know it's not mentioned in the movie, but it would have been nice to have like a throwaway line, because as soon as they establish that, Harry, you have a wand and you can use the summoning spell Accio, and he says Accio Firebolt, you see the egg. What is stopping you from saying Accio Egg?
Yeah, it's true.
I guess it's all about what he wants to do.
I'm sure it would have in the the headcanon of the world. There is a summoning prevention charm.
Yeah,
on
maybe
the
there's
egg.
the egg is enchanted. All right,
I
let's
think
do
you're armchair wizarding him too
let's do
hard.
Brendan Gleeson. This is going to be terrible.
All right.
All right.
Brendan Gleeson. Ooh.
Yeah. Guests go first. So name one Brendan Gleeson movie.
Oh, this is Mad Eye Mooney?
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, I love this actor.
I can think of a few.
I want.
I can think of
who's
a few.
first?
I'm just trying to think.
Who's first? Can I go first?
No,
No.
guests go first.
Oh, guests go first.
We've been doing this.
This
I'm
is-
sorry. That was
this
very
is
rude.
probably
of me. I'm
not
sorry.
there, but I want to say In Bruges.
In Bruges
Yeah.
is correct.
That's a good
Yes!
guess.
It's like his
That's a
number
really
one
good
movie,
guess.
probably.
You think it's not a good guess, but it's a very good guess.
All right.
Well, you got the easy one. Good job, guys.
all right,
Good luck.
I got a deep cut. I'm gonna go Braveheart.
Oh, yeah,
Nope,
it's good.
not right.
Damn.
It's in New York.
Nope.
Fuck.
Wrong. Yes, but wrong.
Schatz, it's back to you.
I'm going to say this movie.
Damn, I was.
Harry
Nope.
Potter and the Goblet of Fire.
Not right.
I'm gonna say 28 Days Later.
Wrong. I'm
Oof.
impressed that you guys know so many Brendan Gleeson movies.
He's
and
great.
They're all good movies. You guys
20
are doing
Days
great.
Later is one of the best zombie movies.
Colin.
I'm gonna guess the one after this, which is what's that?
Order of the Phoenix?
Order of the Phoenix. Yeah.
Wrong. And, I'll give you guys a hint. He's not in
I don't
a
think
Harry
he's
Potter
in-
movie.
No, he's in another Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, but it's not
It's
on
not
his.
in top
Yeah.
Oh, not top four. Oh, yeah, I wasn't
Stop-
going to guess that
just
one.
Stop guessing Harry Potter movies.
I don't
is
know. I
what I'm
wasn't going to
saying.
guess another one. But I was about to
that's-
say he is in the seventh one.
That's not your only hint. Your other hint is that two of these movies are directed by John Michael McDonough. I don't know how much that'll help you guys.
Oh.
Oh, fuck! I don't know. What it is.
It's on Schatz, I think.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember those movies. That name is ringing a bell, but I cannot.
I'll give you another clue. The third one, two of them were John Michael McDonough. The third one was directed by Anthony Minghella, and that one is based on a book.
I think I know that one.
Did he do? Fuck. Oh that is on the tip of my tongue.
Oh, I have a guess, but I don't know.
Oh my god.
Oh, but it's wrong.
English Patient?
No.
Wrong.
Is that the right director though?
It is the right director.
I'll say, is it Cold Mountain?
It is Cold Mountain.
Bam!
That's the Anthony Minghella one.
What's that one? I think it has like Liam Neeson or something. It's like just a guy's name. Like it's not Rob Roy, is it? Or like what is it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Is he in
he
that?
is in
Rob
Rob
Roy
Roy.
is a movie with Liam Neeson, and
That is just a guy's name.
it is just a guy's name.
Is he is Gleason
but
in that?
That's I don't think so, and that
Okay,
is-
well I'm gonna guess Kingdom of
oh,
Heaven.
actually,
he is in
he
Kingdom of
might
Heaven.
be
Yeah,
that.
he's
Oh,
great.
That's
he's
not
in
McDonough.
Braveheart.
Yeah, he's in Braveheart for sure. No, those are wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Those are all wrong. Everything
Wrong.
said there was wrong.
Wrong.
All right, let me
Wrong.
give you another. Let me give you another.
Are you just hitting the
clue.
wrong button over and
Yeah,
over again?
yeah.
Oh,
It's,
so it wasn't Kingdom of Heaven then. He's really good in Kingdom of Heaven.
So is Edward
Wait,
Norton.
okay, give a hint.
one of these movies co-stars Don Cheadle,
Wow.
Whoa.
I
It's an Ocean's movie.
and
obviously.
it's a good movie. No, it's a good movie. This is the one that I've seen. The other one I haven't seen.
This is the McDonough movie?
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know. I'm drawing a blank with McDonough.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
So you're saying the last two remaining clues are both directed
Both
by
John Michael McDonough movies. One co-stars Don Cheadle. The other one, I'll give you his character names in both of these.
Wow.
One of them, he is. Let me make sure I get the character names exactly.
Is this
right.
the same director as In Bruges?
That's Martin McDonough.
Yeah.
I knew it was
Really?
McDonough.
There's
'Cause they could-
multiple McDonoughs.
Yeah, that's why I'm like drawing a blank. It's like every time I think of a movie, no, that's Martin. Nope,
I don't
that's
know
Martin.
I don't know if they're related. He plays Jerry Boyle in the one where he co-stars with Don Cheadle. He plays Father James in the other one.
Oh man, you know what was that? Did you ever see The Nice Guys with Russell Crowe?
Love that movie.
I'd like to see Gleason and Cheadle do like a Nice Guys, but they're British.
After
That'd
the
be great,
Predators,
right?
Nice blokes.
Yeah.
After the Predators, I really want Shane Black to just go back to doing buddy cop movies.
Yeah.
All of those are great. Like you got your Lethal Weapon, you got Nice Guys, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
I feel like that's what he's good at.
yeah.
The Predator is like
Imagine the
the
movie
reason
aspect.
why we haven't covered the Predator movies on this show.
You just don't want to watch that.
yeah. I hated that movie so much.
Look at the size of this thing on this Victrola.
It's comical and I love it.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
I'm
can't
sorry,
believe-
I'm drawing a blank with
I love how you
Michael McDonough
criticize.
and McCann.
I love how you criticize the director for making some of these characters cartoon characters, because like I'm pretty sure all of the directors of all of these films have made them all cartoon characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think Newell. I'm going to defend myself on this. I think
Yeah.
Newell goes above and beyond, like trying to give away like the mystery with Barty Crouch with like the tongue thing. I hate the tongue thing so much,
okay.
and I can't stand watching it.
The tongue thing is how I figured out what was going on.
And I get that, but it's just like it's distracting. It's like it could have been literally anything else. I don't know what it could have been. I don't have a suggestion for that, but it drives me crazy. And then Barty Crouch Sr., it's like when he pulls out like it's like Chinese fireball, ooh, and it's like I don't know why, but that cringes with me.
Yeah.
And then like another one, Voldemort is always like really sinister, but in this one,
Oh, yeah.
he is. But when he runs up, I can touch you now. And I'm just like, why is
movement of
everyone
his
like out of a
shoulders and
Wile E.
arms.
Coyote cartoon?
Yeah, the movement of Voldemort's shoulders and arms, like how exaggerated it is, like for every movement he makes. It's really interesting.
Well, going back to our reboot discussion earlier, I think that is the way you reboot this as an animated series of movies or even a show.
A show, yeah. So the last two movies that
Yes,
you guys
please.
did not get are The Guard.
Oh,
That's the one with Don
we were
Cheadle.
done? Oh.
You were done.
I-
Yeah, you were
I-
definitely done.
Is one of them Hotel Rwanda?
we were
No.
we were McDonough with this.
Wrong.
one.
Yeah, you were
Timing,
way
you know what I
McDonough.
mean?
It's
I don't know anything about the Guard.
The
I would never
Guard
have guessed that.
and Cavalry.
Yeah, I would never have guessed those.
I thought
Wrong.
it was the forward and the infantry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm happy
And,
to have gotten one of the 2 points there.
Yeah.
Can't believe I got Harris to laugh at.
Yeah, that was tough. Maybe we could balance it out with Ray Fiennes, or his difficult too.
I don't know. I was gonna give you Miranda Richardson, but you guys wouldn't get that with those
I don't even
either.
know who that is.
That's Rita Skeeter.
Yeah, that wouldn't help. I can't do Miranda Richardson.
I can't fathom that Ray Fiennes is that difficult. He's got so many movies.
That's what might make it hard, is that we will be able to guess them, not like, what the hell is the Guard, but we'll be able to guess them, but it might take a while because it's like,
Yeah, but that's what's fun. It's less fun if they only have like 3 movies, and then you're sitting here and you don't.
Yeah,
know.
well,
All right,
let's
fine.
do it. Let's do it.
Ray Fiennes is actually pretty good. You guys would be okay.
The English Patient.
Is that your guess?
Yes.
You go first. You are wrong.
Damn.
Wrong.
I absolutely did think that Brian Gleason would have Gangs of New York.
Brendan.
Sorry. I don't know why I did
Brian's
that.
his brother, or one of his many sons.
Brian Doyle Gleason is.
Yeah,
Brian Doyle Gleason is his brother.
I absolutely thought that he would have Gangs of New York and
I would have thought Gangs of New York too. That was going
Kingdom
to be
of
my
Heaven also, because he's like
That was going to be my
maybe
guess.
he got
Second
to
guess
pick his
after.
own, and he picked the ones that he's most proud of.
maybe.
Matt, you got a guess for
Schindler's
Ray
List?
Fiennes? Yes.
That makes sense.
What's that one where is he in a rom-com with like J-Lo where she's
Yes.
the maid?
Maid in
Maid
Manhattan, yeah. Is that your
Maid in
guess?
Manhattan is my guess.
Really?
Wrong.
I
Wrong.
guess with my heart.
Okay, it's the name is escaping me. It's the movie that Rachel Weisz won Best Supporting Actress for.
Yeah, I know it. You might say like he's planting things all the
Constant
time.
Gardner.
Matt being
What a
very
hint,
charitable,
Matt.
giving you a hint for a right answer.
Damn.
Oh, well.
Thank you.
Let's see. What else is he in?
I know what my guess is.
He's in so many things. I'm just blanking. Shit. I can't think of anything. I'll say Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Ooh, wow. Got it. Name and episode.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
Very
was
good.
if
Very
I was
good.
I was going to guess a Harry Potter movie. I was probably going to go for the last one, and it makes sense.
All right.
That's
One,
like
My
his
guess is
big
the Grand
showpiece.
Budapest Hotel.
one left, and Colin nails it. That was a quick
Really?
one.
I got it?
What was it?
Grand
The Grand
Budapest
Budapest
Hotel.
Hotel.
Nice.
Good job, guys.
That is my favorite Wes
He's
Anderson
so
movie.
good in
I
that.
adore Grand Budapest Hotel.
Redeemed
So
yourself
good.
for the questionable Brendan Gleeson performance.
Excellent.
What made you go Made in Manhattan?
I wanted to.
I had not thought of that movie in a long time.
I wanted to think about that movie. I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
It's very charming.
I think he saves her life
You
on
know what?
accident.
He's actually terrible. I mean, he's not terrible in that, but like Jennifer
Lopez.
Jennifer Lopez is so charismatic, and
good actress.
she should have done 20 rom-coms.
I really
She's done
like
a
Wedding
fair
Planner.
amount.
Yeah.
I like Wedding
but
Planner.
she
a lot.
should have done more. She should have done many more.
Did you see the new one with Owen Wilson?
I didn't.
I
yet,
liked it.
but that seems like that would work because
I liked
they
it.
are both charming.
I
should
do
watch it.
like a movie that has a lot of talented people, and then the person you did not expect to be the best actor in that movie is. What my mind is going to. I watched this. I was a captive audience. I was stuck on a plane. Battleship. You've got Liam Neeson, who in that film is phoning it in, but Rihanna is giving it her all.
Nice.
I like that scene where Snape keeps on walking by and smacking
is-
him. 'cause
I
they're
do
supposed
like
to be
that scene,
studying.
too.
Yeah, that's good.
Who is
Well-
the MVP of this movie?
This movie?
The thing about Battleship being such a bad movie is sometimes you just have to take a shot and like see if you're gonna hit anything with it.
Let me tell you, with
That is
Battleship,
so
I was
strange. That is so
invested.
just-
I was invested in
oh,
Battleship
God.
for the
Now we're
first
talking
5
about
minutes. It had
Battleship.
nothing to do with the Battleship. I was very invested in if Taylor Kitsch was going to be able to break into the 7-Eleven and get a frozen burrito. After he successfully does that, and then is arrested, I didn't care for the rest of the movie.
I was just wondering, will Taylor Kitsch possibly
Be able to break into Hollywood?
break into Hollywood?
I knew that's where you were going.
Have a career after that. That was the only intrigue in that movie. Who's the MVP of this movie?
Yeah. And it
The one
could
we're
be,
watching?
if not an actor, maybe an element of the movie.
The one we're watching right now?
Yes. The
And
one we're
talking
doing
about?
an episode
Well,
about.
we're not
supposed
talking
to be
about it
talking
that much.
about-
yet,
I particularly, I'm not going to say the MVP, but I want to point out something that I thought was very impressive. It's hard following up John Williams. John Williams did the first 3 soundtracks, and the third one in particular, Prison of Azkaban, is some of his best work. It's phenomenal. And then you have to follow that up. So Nicholas Hooper had a tall task. And particularly with the piece, the Rita Skeeter piece, the scene that I otherwise like, what the scene isn't helping the movie progress. The music, the theme Nicholas Hooper gave Rita Skeeter sounds like a Williams piece. He really nailed that particular piece of music. So kudos to Nicholas Hooper, because you followed up a legend and stood your ground.
I never even heard of him. What else has he scored?
He did the 5th movie as well, Order of the Phoenix, which has some really good pieces. I think the theme for Umbridge is really good. And I want to say he did the 6th movie as well. Track 6, Harry and Hermione, is a particularly beautiful piece, very somber, despite it going through the most teen angst in the entire franchise.
Didn't it eventually go to
Alexander Desplat did the final 2. But Hooper did 4, 5, and 6, and did a good job.
Huh.
So your standout is the score of this film.
Having said all that, my standout is Emma Watson.
Matt beat me to it. I can't say anything bad about one of my 3 favorite ladies.
I'm going to say I think it's Brendan Gleeson in that character. I think for me is huge. Although I will also say I thought it's not just the production design and the costumes and stuff, but the whole visual idea of this movie, the way the shape of the pirate ship thing that the guys fly in on, and a lot of the way they lay out the challenges for the Triwizard Tournament
events.
Yeah, I feel like it was always just it was very visually appealing in kind of a it feels like a fantasy world that's very grounded, so I liked a lot of that too.
I actually will agree that this movie's visual design is very good. I will say the best grounded fantasy is still Prisoner of Azkaban.
So you're saying that Prisoner of Azkaban.
Prisoner of Azkaban is good in your opinion?
Yes.
Good. All right. Good.
Okay. It's one thing I wanted to talk about, but I wasn't selected for that movie.
Are you guys seeing hints of why I didn't want him for Azkaban?
Yeah, maybe.
I'm sorry.
Colin, who's your MVP?
Oh, yeah. What is my MVP of this film? I would have to say that I like...
the Patel twins?
Can I just vamp on that for a second? They are so disappointed that they're going to the dance with these twins.
Who wouldn't be?
Those twins should be very disappointed that they're going to dance with these idiots.
Yeah, it should go the other way around. The Patel twins are great.
I think they show that by the end of the
by the
dance.
end of it, they're like, oh, I can't believe.
Oh, yeah, but it's just why are they disappointed? They got dates with 2 very charming ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you were saying that the Patel twins were disappointed to be going with them.
Oh, that's obvious.
We talked about Emma Watson and stuff, and them they're going to the dance and introducing hormones and stuff to all this. They're still really weirdly young to me.
Oh no, they're definitely too young. I'm just saying
movie.
that as even retrospectively though, I'm not going to say anything bad about one of my favorite actresses.
Yeah. Emma Watson's clearly
she
is in real life 5 or 6 years younger than this dude, and she kind of looks it in the movie as well.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought you meant Harry. I'm I think they're all the same age.
Yeah,
it's weird though. I think I would say all of these people grow into pretty attractive people. I mean, they're
you'd think at least one of them would look like a weirdo or something.
And this state to see them in this stage is kind of weird. It
is weird.
Yeah.
I had forgotten about this in this movie. I thought that this whole sequence came in Half-Blood Prince when I thought that was the movie where they introduced hormones.
No. The first thing
more
is
relationships in that.
Harry and Hermione hold hands in Prisoner of Azkaban. That's the first hint.
Briefly.
That's why I said hint. And then this movie there's the whole ball thing. I don't remember too much in the 5th one. I think there's a little bit, but the 6th movie goes full on teen angst.
Let's talk about one of the most ridiculous things in this, that Harry is...
I thought you were going to say the Wizarding Rock Band.
Well, no, there's a lot.
The Wizarding Rock Band is silly.
Yeah.
Which it's who's the guy?
It's Johnny Greenwood and Jarvis Crocker.
Yeah.
It's 2 of the biggest rock stars in history just do this random 5-second cameo in this.
I had the subtitles on the whole time. The lyrics are awful.
Do you want to dance like a hippogriff?
Yeah.
Something tells me Jarvis Cocker did not actually write the lyrics to that song.
I hope not.
But anyways, so no, Harry Potter is literally the most famous, one of the most famous wizards in the world. He is the most famous child wizard in the world. Yeah. And he is a social outcast and can't get a date to the big dance. Not a fucking chance.
It's because he won't ask anybody except Cho.
No,
Cho's
there would have been women asking him. There would have been
I'm with Harris. That's complete horseshit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but,
and also there would be a
later
bunch
one they're doing love potions on him.
And he wouldn't be a social outcast. He'd have a bunch of suck-ups like Draco does, like Draco Malfoy does, that just want to be around Harry Potter because he's so cool.
Harris, well, no, his suck-ups are Hermione and Ron. But
they're actually his friends. He would have a flock, and when he's on the outs with Ron, there'd be a line of other kids who would be like, "I'll be your best friend. Do you need somebody to boss? I need somebody to boss me around."
Well, Harris, let me run something by you.
Exactly.
I feel like Pete Davidson aside, some male celebrities have a tough time in the dating game because people are so intimidated by them. Look at Hugh Grant, for instance. Why did he have to sleep with a hooker?
That's a preference.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Like
really dismissive.
I like you say Pete Davidson aside because that whole thing baffles me.
It baffles everyone.
It baffles everyone. Even some women are like, yeah, I get it, but I'm also baffled by it.
Yeah, the four of them sitting over there is just like,
they're like the only four people who aren't having fun.
Yeah, that's
the poor Patel twins should not have said yes.
Oh,
yeah.
They thought they
I understand
hit the
why
lottery.
they said yes,
Yeah.
and I feel bad for them. And it's like, come on, guys, they're nice girls. Why don't you want to dance with
We
them?
also got the impression that they both said yes to Harry, and Ron was kind of the cost of doing business.
Yeah,
so,
she's definitely the
yeah.
And
then when her sister gets to dance with one of the Bulgarians, she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And now I'm the only one here with these idiots. Oh boy.
I actually love Ron's tuxedo. Though.
And I love how she's like freaking what's her name?
is dancing with the Tom Brady of this world.
Hermione is like floating on air, and she comes over to her two best friends, and they just shit all over her.
Yeah, like they're being really shitty friends.
No, you can't have a good night. No, yeah, this is the worst bad friend version of Ron for sure.
Yeah, he's
just a shitty friend to everybody.
Yeah, but this is
like
Ron
him at his
is
worst. He does be shitty in the 8th movie as well. But I kind of get it in that one.
Yeah.
Well, in this is Ron finally admitting that like he's like not just friends with Hermione. There's something else going on, even if he doesn't really realize it yet.
But he does it in the worst way. He's like, Hermione, you're a girl. Will you go to the dance with me? Yeah. I'm like, oh, is that all I am to you? Come on.
Terrible Ron. Oh, poor Ron. But seriously, like
he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Loyalty is like his one quality. You can't kind of then be shitty at that.
Oh no, no. He's a great character overall. Justice for Ron for sure. But in this moment in this movie,
I want justice for his tuxedo. Like it's not that bad, Ron.
I wouldn't wear it, but I
wouldn't wear it.
Oh well, Colin, this tuxedo is definitely to your taste. I thought Harry's tuxedo looked pretty sharp though.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Just good cut, good nice high collar.
Yeah, I definitely think Colin could pull the tuxedo off.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I think Colin would definitely try.
I would love to try.
Yeah, not as a last resort. Ron, do you have eyes?
I just want to talk about
this part. Hermione tells him when to go to bed.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about, but I kind of like it because it's funny.
You spoiled everything, Ron.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
What is this about?
Spoiled everything, you spoiler. Matt, what was your MVP for this movie?
I think honestly, my MVP for this movie is the script itself, and that obviously is attributed to the book. But like, I feel like as a movie, they did a really good job of cramming a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of twists and turns and characters, and like I don't know, I feel like it zips by and. You're never really bored. I think a lot of the other movies, we really felt the length, and we were like, oh my God, this movie needs to end already.
I think that's the difference
and they
between us is that I do like a long, slow movie.
They compressed it.
Oh, no.
We love on this show.
I firmly believe.
And they compressed it from
movies.
A book.
Should be
I listened to the
longer.
first episode. I heard someone fell asleep in all the Lord of the Rings.
And more.
The book I'm looking at right now looks like it's like the length of 2 Bibles. So the fact that they compressed this into a reasonable length of like a little more than 2-hour movie is pretty impressive.
There are changes I would make, but there is a lot to be impressed by.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's a perfect movie like any of these.
I think it still feels long, but I like it.
It's definitely long. I paused it at one point, and I had been watching for a while, and I was only like 40 minutes in, and I was like, damn. And then I looked, and I still had like 2 hours left or something. I was like, Jesus, this is fucking long. But like in watching it, I was like, I was with it the whole time. I feel like the cheese factor and the cringe factor in this movie is less so than in the others.
Yeah, for sure.
And that, kept me in it.
Does anyone else think Voldemort's little baby hand in these visions is
I love when
hilarious?
they just throw his baby body, like his body. It's like,
I think both those things are hilarious and excellent.
Yes.
I feel like that's I agree with what
this kid's been up fucking all night.
Right on Neville.
Neville Longbottom stumbles in with his fly down.
His bottom's not the only thing that's
condom
long.
stuck to his foot.
I've definitely got herpes now.
Dad's off to bed. Wizard herpes.
So I'd like to throw in at this point, since we were looking at the boys' dormitory room, I have been to Leavesden Studios, where you can go check out the sets that are still standing and the props. They've kept a lot of this stuff. This bridge is there. You can walk through
the bridge is my favorite part of the whole Hogwarts.
Yeah, thank you, Alfonso Cuarón, who came up with that. He specifically requested it. And so, yeah, that's at Leavesden Studios. You can walk down this bridge. It's a brilliant piece of set. The interesting thing about the boys' dormitory is that same set was used for all of the movies, and they built it in mind for them as little kids.
Yeah.
And they thought they might eventually rebuild it if they continued making the movies, because at the time, I believe you said they only ordered the first 4 and then eventually ordered the others. But
luckily, Daniel Radcliffe ended up stopping growing at 5'4".
Yes,
they're like, perfect.
But Rupert did not, and several of the other actors did not. And so while they fit into the beds perfectly fine as kids, by the time of the 6th and 7th movie, they were... I don't know if we see the boys' dormitory in the 7th movie, but by the time of the 6th movie, they were cramped.
Well, that's why it's a good thing that Neville Longbottom sleeps curled up in the fetal position crying, because he couldn't fit any other way.
Not last night.
Yeah. No, even last, especially last night.
Especially.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Matt. I think they do a really good job. If it were up to me, I probably could have cut 20 minutes out of this movie somewhere, but I still think it moves pretty.
Start with that rock
pretty quickly.
That rock band song.
Yeah, I feel like they just, like the whole movie is sort of centered around this Triwizard Tournament and the conspiracy to get Harry into it to potentially do something nefarious.
I would say also the underwater sequence drags on a little long.
Yeah,
that's a lot of murky, and it all looks very samey. You could have cut that in half.
Right, and I thought the dragon chase could have been trimmed slightly. I think there's a lot of but I think also the interim scenes sort of, there's a lot of, it's not that you don't need the character building stuff and that you don't need the sort of the interaction to like build the mystery, but I do think they kind of, for as up-tempo as some of the action is and some when they're actually stuff happening, a lot of the stuff they're building feels like it's got some filler in it.
I agree.
But that having been said, given how it must have been a hell of a thing adapting that giant book into what we see here, and it turned into you could forgive them if it was like completely incomprehensible or didn't work. And I think for the most part, it really worked for me. I actually like this better than cover your ears, Schatz. I
understand everyone disagrees with me. It's okay.
I like this better than Prisoner of Azkaban. I thought it moved faster. It was I loved I thought Prisoner of Azkaban was a very good movie. It was definitely the best that I'd seen so far. But I thought this was even better. It just flew by for me, and I really
I love this scene with
enjoyed it
when he's with Moaning Myrtle in the bath.
Yeah.
Who I believe I've heard she's 30.
Yeah. 37 or something.
Yeah.
What's so sexy about Moaning Myrtle?
Do you like glasses?
I don't know.
Is it the baby talk?
That if we were casting her in a movie, she would not be the lead. She would be the ugly best friend, which otherwise known as Colin's type.
No.
Oh, she's a brunette with glasses, but she's hot, but she definitely can't be the lead being a brunette with glasses. No. So we'll just make her the.
Harris, I think the difference is that having read the books, there's a lot of details that you liked in the book that you want to see, and Cuarón found ways that even if it wasn't part of the main plot, he would hide it in the background or something. Whereas this movie, as you say, does zip, and I would see, my parents really loved this movie. I think they said this was their favorite at the time when we saw it in the theater, where I was like, this is probably my least favorite. It's because it was zipping by, and there was a lot of stuff that I wanted to see, and I understand it can't be adapted, but it's still hurt maybe a little bit, because book-wise, my movie and book order are completely different. Prisoner of Azkaban is probably one of my least favorite books, but it's my favorite movie. Goblet of Fire is up there. I'd say probably my favorite is Order of the Phoenix, but Goblet of Fire is, I think, maybe in the top 3 of the books.
Watching this bath scene, I figured out what's so hot about Moaning Myrtle, Colin. It's that she's overtly fucking sexual. She is literally trying
show
to.
Me your wand, Harry.
Figured it out.
She's trying to dry hump a naked boy in the bath, and she doesn't even have a body.
Yeah.
It's physically impossible.
I mean, it's no big deal.
There's
but
more
she's making the
sexuality
effort.
in this kids movie than in most of the MCU movies.
She's making the effort, yeah.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like you have like Thor walking around shirtless, and it's like, does no one want to like just talk about how you probably all want to fuck this man right now?
Yeah, I mean,
Colin talks about it all the time. Can't get him to shut up. Can't get him to shut up about fucking Thor. But you know,
this is just an interesting article I read. It was just like, how is no one in the MCU boning?
Yeah, there's no sex
there's a lack of
in any movies today. There's a big thing in this movie we haven't talked about yet, and that's the fact that there's no Dursley scene in this movie.
Yeah, none of the Dursleys.
I did not realize that, and it never occurred to me.
Wow.
Yeah, they just start off with they're in the burrow, and that's maybe another reason why it feels like those first 5 minutes zip by. It's like there's the dream, and then all right, Harry's with the Weasleys, and go. We're going. We're at the Quidditch Cup. Let's go.
We skip the obligatory Harry's life in the Muggle world sucks.
Yeah, we didn't
intro,
need that, but it was
nice.
it's pretty funny.
I don't like those parts. Like, it's stupid.
Even though Fiona Shaw, your mom, is a feature.
No, I like
player.
Fiona Shaw's your mom?
Shaw. I love Fiona Shaw.
Oh, Colin loves his mother.
She's a great
Just kidding.
actress.
Not actually.
She's just unfortunately in one of the worst movies I have ever seen.
Which
What?
is?
The Black Dahlia.
Oh
murder,
yeah.
The Black Dahlia murder movie.
Is
I
that
think
with,
it's just called The Black Dahlia.
Is that with Ben
Yeah.
Affleck?
Directed
No,
by
Brian
Ryan
De Palma.
Phillippe?
De Palma.
No,
yeah.
it's
was
the
a,
Brian De Palma film. Is
I
that
saw it
Josh
in
Hartnett? I
theater.
think it's Josh
Josh
Hartnett.
Hartnett.
Yeah,
That's
it's
who I
Josh
thought.
Hartnett.
Yep.
Josh
Yeah.
Hartnett and Ryan Phillippe look alike to me, even though they don't actually
They
look
look nothing alike.
I think was that the movie
I'm
that
glad
made
you
Josh
clarified
Hartnett
to
quit
you that-
Hollywood
Yeah.
for a while?
Is that it the one?
I think so.
I don't blame him. That
He
movie's
left Hollywood
awful.
for like 10 years after that.
That movie. Everything about that movie is awful, except
Yeah.
for the trailer. The
I
trailer
liked
was
how
amazing.
I liked how it was like kind of long and slow.
If you want me to talk about long, slow movies I like, there are plenty. I just
Yeah.
got that vibe from hearing that someone didn't like Lord of the Rings or fell asleep in them.
It's not that
that
we
wasn't
didn't
me.
like them. I saw them all at midnight.
Yeah, and it's not that I didn't like them. I enjoyed them enough to see them the one time, and will never, ever, ever spend that much time watching those movies.
I watch them like once a year.
Of course, I've probably said similar things about movies that we watch for this podcast. So eventually, somebody's going to pick The Lord of the Rings, and I'm going to have to watch them all again.
Yep.
You will.
I like this. You know what? I agree with you that the swimming scene could be shorter just because it is kind of all samesies. And
Here's my theory on that: is that I feel like in movies, whenever there's like a movie that has like an infamous like underwater sequence, like that you have to see the underwater scene, like notoriously in filmmaking, underwater sequences are like incredibly hard to make. They take a really long time.
I've made a music video that was entirely underwater.
Apparently, this was a nightmare, by the way.
Yeah, I feel like they just want to showcase it as much as possible. Like this took 6 months to shoot, so we're going to show you.
So
every
damn it,
fucking second of it.
it's not going to be 2 minutes. Yeah. But I thought it was very clever the way they all have a different solution to the problem.
I did enjoy that.
And I loved that, the one thing is say, Harry is...
I love this part.
Harry's a moron. And
he doesn't even he waits to the last minute. He procrastinates on something that could kill him.
He's incompetent in any number of ways. But the one thing he does have is he's a good guy. And I did like that they gave him, the win. They let him be a hero, not just because he's a magic wizard that Voldemort can't kill, but because of something that he actually has power over, which is
his choices.
He's going to do the right thing, even if it,
He does the right thing there, but
I would
he
say
always
that's the whole. Oh my bad.
I'm sorry, but he only asks Ron and Hermione like they always have the solution. It's like you have other classmates, and you all have your own specialties. I understand that that the whole thing is Mad-Eye Moody led him to the win, but it's this kind of like Harry's being kind of shitty is like, oh, Neville's the dopey classmate that will never do anything right, and it's like, hey, he might actually help, and so he's like surprised where he's like, unless you know something, that's like, yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. I'm not incompetent. I just happens to be my specialty, which is not yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, Harry is known for treating his classmates like total shit.
I do think like what you were talking about, Harris, is the moral of the story for this particular installment of the Harry Potter is that Harry Potter might not be actually the best wizard. It's not about that. It's about that he wants to make the right choices.
Yeah, he's not going to hang people out to dry.
And that's more important than,
And ironically, if he had done that with Cedric would still be alive.
Yeah, well, he's still a real piece of shit.
I agree that is the theme.
Cedric's like, why couldn't you just let me get eaten by a maze?
Yeah.
Well,
What
actually-
happens if you get like caught up in the bushes in the maze? Are you just in the bushes and you can't get out? Like, how bad is that? Or do
Eventually,
they
the
eat
gardener
you?
comes and trims you out the next day.
Exactly. How bad
It's
is
a little uncomfortable, but
like I don't understand how far the downside of the maze actually goes, because they really like kind of make it seem like the maze could kill you, but it also looks like maybe you just get stuck in the bushes for a long time.
Yeah, I think you do. I think that's what they were going for. That was one of the things that disappointed me, that the maze was just the bushes trying to eat you, and that's all it was. The maze was supposed to have so many other things.
Yeah.
There was and it wasn't all just like combat too. It wasn't like, oh, run away from the bushes or a particular monster. But there were puzzles as well. And I get it was probably would have raised the VFX
Chess
budget.
again.
I know that would have raised the VFX budget again, like a whole bunch, but there was supposed to be a Sphinx that gives Harry a riddle, and it's supposed to show that Harry is, again, not like totally incompetent, that he only knows 3 spells, but he solves the riddle and continues on.
Yeah.
And whereas I think it was supposed to be established that Cedric or maybe one of the other contestants like had gone by and couldn't figure out the riddle and kept moving. I could be wrong on that, but it was nice to see Harry competent instead of going, I ran away from bushes good.
yeah.
Question about this sequence with the dead bodies or the drowned bodies that are floating in. They look really fucking dead and scary.
I think they used I think those are dummies.
Yeah, they're for
I
sure
mean, clearly.
dummies. I don't think they're real people.
Well, no,
like,
I
holding
just
their breath.
when I was first watching it, I was like, how are they shooting around these people? They have to get them oxygen or something. And then I was like, oh, this is just really good dummies.
Rupert, we need you to hold your breath
Yeah.
for
But
the
like,
next 10 minutes.
Did Ron and Hermione know that they were going to be volunteering for this? Did they like say, "I'll do it"?
More importantly, they picked one person for a special person for each of these characters, right? And it's Fleur Dela whatever her
Fleur
name is,
Delacour's sister.
and for what's his name, Crumb and Cedric, it's their dates to the dance. And for Harry,
it's his best friend.
It's his best friend. Of course, he's been fighting with his best friend all movie, and Crumb's date is also his other best friend. So it's like a very confusing, like I don't know that Harry
like, how did
necessarily.
Harry know who to choose?
Yeah,
in
he's
that
like, well, I
moment?
kind of hate this guy right now, and
But see,
she's
they
my
didn't.
friend.
It was basically the school staff just like, we know.
Yeah.
We know.
Well, they share a bed a lot.
A very small bed, I might add.
Why is it so hard for him to get 2 of them up? Because the other ones, once they severed the connection, they went right up, and now he's like having to pull them up like it's harder. I don't know.
Because of stuff, Colin.
Yeah,
'cause of
okay.
stuff.
I did get the impression that like I never read the book, but like the first time I saw the movie, when they went in the maze and like the way it went down in the maze, I definitely got the impression that in the book the maze is way better. You know what I mean?
In the book, the maze is a lot better.
These fucking twins.
They're annoying even when they're just clapping.
I'm pretty sure this girl is from 127 Hours. Is
Yeah,
that the
I think
movie?
you're
that was
right,
something
yeah.
she was in. Yeah,
She looks
She's like-
she
yeah.
looks vaguely like Claire Danes.
I've seen her in something else. I can't
she's
remember.
she's
right
got
now.
that kind of like hot girl with a really round nose thing going on. That I think is like Claire Danes staple.
That's not what I said. I said she looked
Yeah,
vaguely
but no,
like
but
Claire
you said
Danes.
she looks very vaguely like Claire Danes, and I'm telling you what you're seeing. I'm like translating for you for your eyes.
I guess. Wait, we're talking about the lead French girl, right?
Yes.
Claire Delacour. Wait, Rose Delacour?
Fleur
Delacour.
Fleur Delacour.
Yeah. My little sister, you saved her. Yes.
And then Ron gets a kiss somehow too.
Oh yeah.
It's like, and
She's
you were
like,
there.
You were also there. Yeah. Yeah. Great.
Oh yeah, Ron.
For a while, this movie takes a detour. It has like kind of the first thing with the dragon, and then it takes a detour with the dance, and you kind of forget about the Triwizard Tournament for a while.
Yeah. That's honestly where the one place it does kind of drag for me, and the one place that I would have tried to pep it up if I was.
I wish there were more events to the Triwizard Tournament.
There
It's
was-
like more grueling. Like it was constantly like a test. I also wish that like every event, like they were constantly having like little organizational problems and like logistical problems with the fact that it's called the Triwizard Tournament and they have to put 4 people in every time.
Yeah.
Like, well,
you want to see the bureaucracy and administration side of things?
Yes, I do.
Well, don't forget, there is Ludo Bagman running around trying to avoid goblins.
Yes.
Because, like, I'm running this thing, but also these goblins really want their money.
Yep.
Well, also, like, this is supposed to be going on throughout the entire school year, right?
Yes.
And it's just the 3
they
events.
show very little the classes where the other ones are like, well, halfway through, oh, you got this test or something.
So this Barty Crouch guy, he's pretty much only in this movie, right? We haven't seen him before.
Yes, he's only in this movie because he's about to die.
Right.
He does not survive for other
His
movies.
death is kind of brushed over, right?
It's brushed over, and he's probably the weakest actor in this movie. I just think I don't like how he's portrayed at all.
Does he
seems pointless.
Does he have an accent? He seems like he's got like a funny accent.
It is a very weird way of talking.
His mustache is also like suspiciously too small. It's
Yeah,
like getting close to like.
Oh, it
right,
is.
right.
Yeah.
It's like I call that the big Hitler.
Who is Harry's like girl that he wants in this movie?
Cho Chang.
Cho Chang.
Yeah. I love her accent. It's so like Scottish.
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Yeah.
Does she have an Irish accent
It's
or
Scottish.
Scottish, yeah.
Yeah, it's so unexpected.
Yeah.
Why?
She kind of gets the shit end of the stick in the next movie as she's like outed as like the snitch that gives away Dumbledore's army.
Okay,
Damn.
I found out recently that
Spoiler alert,
that's not
Schatz.
true in the books.
Yes.
Okay. I'll make sure to say that when we get to that movie.
Yes, it's Cho brings a friend of hers
Right.
who's kind of shitty about the whole thing and eventually rats them out.
That bitch.
Duplicitous.
I like Cho. That's why I
Yeah,
don't like that
I thought
they make her a villain in the
Can't
in the
believe
next
they
movie.
did her like that.
They did her wrong.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. I think everyone who has a Scottish accent should just do the normal Scottish accent and everything.
It's
It's
so
good
it's
accent.
such a cool accent.
Like, what's his name? The Quidditch guy from the first 2 movies?
Yeah, exactly.
Wood? Is that his
There
name?
wasn't
Oliver
enough.
Wood?
There wasn't enough
Yeah.
room for him and Cedric Diggory in the same movie.
Well, I think in they don't go over the Quidditch in the third movie. That's to save on runtime. They cut it out, but Gryffindor does not win the Quidditch Cup in the first 2 years. They just show like a Quidditch game to show Quidditch is here, but they don't talk about it. They lose, and then the third movie is Wood's last year. He's 7th year in that one, and he's never won, and he's always wanted to win the school Quidditch Cup. And so there's a big moment where they win. I think it's against. I don't remember what team is again, but they win the Quidditch Cup in the third year.
I'm going to say fascinating, even though that's totally not true.
Well, that's why they cut it out of the movie. But I'm just saying is that's why Wood's not around anymore. Is there's no Quidditch in the third movie,
Did he
and
go
that's
pro,
his last
though?
year.
Did he end up going pro? Did he get drafted?
They don't talk about it anymore. It's just he wins the Quidditch Cup, and that's Wood's finale. Is like
Yeah.
I finally did it. Thank you.
Well,
Harry.
Wood was getting a little soft towards the end there, anyways. So
But the actor who plays Oliver Wood, I just want to throw out, is in a independent movie called Cashback. Fantastic film. Check it out.
Is that on Netflix or something?
It's currently on Amazon Prime for free.
Oh, nice.
I like free.
what the hell are these things? Oh my God, these are the worst candies ever.
Why would he
I
just
love
touch
how
that
Dumbledore loves candy, and half the time the candy is like really inconvenient.
Here's the thing though. I do love black licorice, so it might be worth it.
I love when candy bites back.
Yeah.
So I don't like black licorice, but I do like spicy things.
To come
I
to
do
his
like
office,
hot
or is he
candy.
just snooping right now?
This is something they changed up from the books, from what I remember. It's like he doesn't like walk in on them talking about like, and it's kind of stupid that they're talking about. It's like, oh, let's remove Harry from the tournament. It's too dangerous for him. But like they established that he can't. Barty says it's Barty.
It's law. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's like a magical binding contract. He
Yeah.
can't get out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter what the books did. It's just he's going to talk to Dumbledore.
Yes.
He interrupts a meeting. Dumbledore leaves him alone. Dumbledore had to know he was going to snoop around
Yeah.
and probably see this dramatic trial.
I forget what it is, but Harry's going up to Dumbledore's office for some other reason, and he leaves. He doesn't bump into it. He leaves his magical memories out, and at one point he just like sticks his head in. And this is actually much longer in the book. He sees like 3 or 4 memories, and this just happens to be the last one.
Well, this seems like an important one to watch.
I like this scene a lot.
Yes. Yeah. So the first 3 memories that he in the books, Harry's his first 3 memories are ones that he's just like kind of snooping around, and then this one Dumbledore actually shows up. He goes into the memory too, and he's like, enjoying my memories, Potter, and or Harry, because Potter's how Malfoy calls him. But he's like, enjoying my memories, Harry, and he's like, oh, is that what this is? And he explains what the whole thing is, and then they watch this one together.
From what I've seen in the movies, there's no way he does that without touching Harry in some way.
probably just like a gentle shoulder caress.
Oh, yeah. That's my ass, sir.
little squeeze of the shoulder.
Sorry.
A lingering
their relationship
caress.
is
quite firm, Harry.
Is technically
wholesome.
platonic.
Yeah, it's
technically platonic.
Dumbledore's just a sweet little man.
Quite firm with the perfect amount of jiggle.
Oh my god.
This scene kind of, watching it now, is reminding me of the scene from Undiscovered Country when they have like the trial scene in that movie, and it's kind of like this, like a big
the
circular
Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Remember when who's on trial? Kirk is on trial, right?
Yeah, Kirk and Bones.
Haven't seen that one.
You haven't seen it?
What a fool.
What? You mean Undiscovered Colony?
Undiscovered Country.
No,
Star Trek 6, The Undiscovered Country.
Wait, 6?
The spin-off was the Undiscovered Colony.
Is Christopher Plummer the villain?
Yes.
Okay, I did see that. It's been a very long time. It's been a very long time. I have seen that one.
Look at this guy trying to sneak away. He's like, oh shit, they're talking about me.
It's Doctor Who.
Yeah, I thought this was interesting because you get a lot of background information on like Snape and how he was a Death Eater, and then he sort of came and
it's a great scene.
Yeah, it's like it's good exposition, but it's also got like the drama of a courtroom scene.
Yeah, I love the cage they bring him in.
Yeah, Cage is awesome.
Cage is great.
It's also very much how I imagined it when I was reading the book. It was pretty much just like this, except for that damn tongue thing.
Yeah, the tongue thing.
Well, you know what's funny?
This is where I figured it out.
Now that I'm watching this for the second time, I'm thinking, how did I miss the part where what's his name sees what's his name do the tongue thing and gives him a funny look, and then he ends up dead? It's like, this is kind of shit that I usually catch, and somehow when I saw this the first time, maybe I wasn't paying enough attention, but I remember both those things happening. I remember he saw Mad Eye do the tongue thing, gave him a funny look, and then later he ends up dead, and it should have like clicked in my head, oh, this is some. And then when this guy's doing the tongue thing, I should have been like, oh, I should have figured this shit out, is what I'm saying. I'm kind of shocked that I didn't, but I guess it isn't as big of a tell if you don't know it's coming. It's not quite as obvious as, because it's right there in front of me, and I'm good at getting ahead of movies, and I did not get ahead of that.
They also keep alluding to the fact that someone is using making what is it called?
Yeah,
polyjuice potion.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that is.
More and more, right? We don't know what it does.
The thing from the second movie where you can transform into another person.
Yeah, but as a casual viewer,
that's fair. Okay. Now those are more of the subtle hints that I think would make a good reveal. I think the tongue thing is a little too obvious.
I only like the tongue thing because when David Tennant does it, it feels a little forced. But when Brendan Gleeson's doing it, it
just feels like a character thing.
Yeah, it feels like he's like
because
not
he also looks like a drunk
because
he keeps drinking.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Brendan Gleeson's is more tolerable, but David Tennant's going crazy with it.
Yeah, I wonder why. Like, what about Mad Eye Mooney when he was actually Mad Eye Mooney makes them accept the fact that at this point in his life he's very drunk all the time.
Well, he's in retirement, sort of.
I've seen shit.
Yeah. After all those years in the Force, on the Wizard Force,
yep.
I've retired, and now I'm just gonna get.
I mean,
drunk.
he is.
That's why I became a school teacher, so I could just get drunk every day.
He says he's an ex-Auror.
Yeah,
and that very much is Wizard Special Forces.
Yeah.
So
I can still feel my leg. It's not there.
When did they start?
I was a good accent.
I was very confused by the worm. People kept on talking about Wormtail. When did he turn into Wormtail? It was Peter Pettigrew for the only other time we've seen him.
They talk about that in the third movie. That's his nickname.
I will say that they
did not make that clear.
He reads on the map. It says like Wormtail something and
Mooney,
something.
Padfoot, Wormtail and Prongs.
Right, but they don't say in the movie that like who those people are.
Yeah.
In the books they do.
Yes,
And
true.
and in the previous movie, when Wormtail was walking around the hallways, on the map he was Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah, he was Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah.
So what the fuck?
I
movie?
believe
Stop
they-
doing confusing dumb things that make it hard for me to follow you.
I kind of agree with that.
I do believe they dropped the name Wormtail at least once or twice in the third movie.
Without
Quickly.
explaining what
In
the fuck they were
Azkaban?
talking about.
In the Prisoner of Azkaban, I believe.
No, like that was the big reveal is he's trying to figure out who Peter Pettigrew is.
In the Shrieking Shrek, I believe they do call him Wormtail at least once.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not totally in agreement with Harris, but
But that's more on
I do see his
principle
point.
than
Yeah, that is on principle, and I do kind of see the point. Is like they really didn't do a great job of establishing that this character, because he also has a name when he's Ron's rat as well.
Yeah,
right.
right.
Yes.
Scabbers.
Scabbers.
Like how many goddamn names does this
Yeah,
character
too many
need?
names.
All they need is a throwaway line where they're like Wormtail and Harry's like Wormtail.
You
and
mean
they're like,
Scabbers?
Oh, no,
Yeah.
Peter
No,
Pettigrew.
Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah, which
oh
would
yeah,
have
they're
been
all the
like-
same person, all those names. So we're just going to use them all interchangeably from now on.
But that's
oh, good, okay.
that's very much the sense of humor that these movies have.
That's
is
also
like-
the sense of Harry Potter that these movies have, is
Yeah.
not being quite up on things.
Oh yeah, Harry not knowing what the hell's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who you guys keep on talking about Wormtail? What is this Wormtail you all talking about?
Wormtail? No, it's Timothy Spall. That's the actor's name.
Oh, the actor. Yes, yes.
Can
Who
I
plays
just
Wormtail, aka Peter Pettigrew?
can I just
AKA Scabbers.
can I just point out in that last scene, they while they're doing the subtle hint of Polyjuice Potion, they bring up another potion called Veritaserum.
That's the
They
do in the
truth
Macarena?
potion.
Yeah.
So they're establishing in this world there's a truth potion. The same question is posed in this movie, whereas like people claim that they were under the Imperio curse. How would we ever find out the truth? It's like there's Veritaserum. You have truth potion. Just give them the potion and then say, "Were you under the Imperio curse when you did that?"
Oh, I think we got her with this one, JK.
Isn't all the
Twisted
stuff
by your own
right? Yeah,
lack
that's
of
true. I
foresight.
Isn't all the stuff that's in like the
nitpicking.
potions category though? You have to actually have like you have to acquire the resources to like make the potion. So like you can't have Veritas potion if you don't have like the like the sea sponge that's necessary. Or
Yeah,
whatever.
and actually,
You know
now
what
that
I
I
mean?
think
Like-
about it, isn't Polyjuice Potion the one that in a previous movie Hermione says it's going to take months to make?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like what? Why? Why is it going to take months? Does she have to like grow ingredients?
Because it's a process.
Yeah, because they need a bunch of different ingredients, and then
I
you
think
have
the
to
potion actually does have to stew for a while.
yeah, you gotta stew it.
It's called fermenting.
Thank you,
Fermented
Harris.
potion.
And so
You're right,
I
you're right.
believe what they explain is that Crouch Jr. has a constant batch always brewing.
Yeah, that's
And
why he's
also-
he's
all this
stealing
stuff,
Snape's.
And also, Hermione was making enough for 3 people, where he's just making enough for 1. So
Yeah.
that does help.
But you do see that he's got that case full of like all the empty jars. Like he had.
Yes.
a
Yeah,
lot
he's
of
got to
just
be
doing it constantly.
Yeah, hitting that constantly.
To your point with the Veritaserum, I'm sure it's rare, but for something as basically
Yeah.
Voldemort is Wizard Hitler.
Right,
If you're
yeah.
basically doing the Judgment at Nuremberg, I think that calls for the rare potion.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, sure, why not?
But maybe during that time there was like a drought in a region where the wheat was produced for the certain kind of maybe. I don't know.
Like,
Aw,
that doesn't
this is
really
sad.
bother me. I'm nitpicking, but I
This
just thought it
is
was funny.
sad
This
that
like you
Didgeridoo's
bring up the
hugging each
question
other.
and the answer for that question in the same movie.
Yep. True.
All right.
I don't like how they made Filch like an
Run?
idiot.
Do you remember Filch's run in the beginning?
Yeah. But we
Yeah.
were
I
talking about
love
something else, and
that.
I didn't want to interrupt.
I love
But,
the
like,
run.
He's a sarcastic. He's a sarcastic. There's humor behind him, but it's mostly like how he's like this cruel, sarcastic groundskeeper. And in this movie, they make him a complete cartoon character.
I would say a bit of correct me if I'm wrong, a bit of a goober.
Yeah, he does definitely.
is a little bit of a goober. Yeah.
Gooberishness to it.
Yeah,
His
there's
gooberishness
to him.
is palpable.
I loved the scene in the first movie where he's bringing the kids out for detention, where he's not hobbling. They're not making what I think I don't like about it, like with the run and the other stuff, is they're kind of making fun of someone for being disabled, is how it comes across, and it's
Yeah.
a little cruel. Where in the first one, the humor's coming from his lines. It's like the funny part of it is that he's this cruel person and they won't let him do what he wants to do. He's like, I remember the days where we had the children hanging from their thumbs in the dungeons. God, I miss the screaming.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
correct me
not
if I'm wrong,
laughing at his limp.
But he's
I'm
like one of
laughing at how funny he looks when he tries to walk with the limp.
The running was really interesting.
Yeah, for me, it's just the running. It seems so
Wait.
deliberate.
He's a Muggle slave, though, right? Like he's
not a Muggle.
Oh, he's not.
He is a squib.
What's
this is what I was talking about with Matt pre the starting this.
He was listening to the older episodes and just screaming at the radio.
No, I wasn't screaming. But
he's listening to this on a radio too, which is weird.
There were some questions being asked that I didn't realize I could answer. So there's Muggles, which are non-magic people from non-magic parents.
Yeah.
That are don't have magic powers.
Right.
And then you have you have people like Hermione. The derogatory term for it is mudblood.
Right.
Someone with non-magic parents that has.
Do we have a
powers.
non-derogatory term for it? Because I feel kind of bad every time I use it.
It's just a person with non-magic parents.
A person of non-magical
Or just
descent.
call them what they are. They're a witch or a wizard. They know how to do magic. They just happen to have no wizard family blood.
Okay.
And then there was a question: isn't someone half-blood? And that is technically Harry. Because the Potter family is a historically magic family, but his mom was a witch from a non-magic family.
Right.
Then you have pure blood, like the Weasleys. All of them are wizards. Now, there are some people who are born from wizarding families, but can't do magic.
Right.
They're known as a squib.
But you can't call them Muggles. It's not the same.
Yes, because they technically have wizard blood, and that is what Filch is.
Got it.
I love that this Bo Batten girl is like always in a workout sweatsuit kind of a thing.
Yeah. She doesn't do very well in the tournament.
No, she doesn't.
No,
she's the weak link.
I kind of would like to see her do better, but
yeah, these are some tough competitions, and honestly, this guy doesn't do that great either. In Crumb, considering how he's how he's like totally jacked and stuff. I mean, they all get their egg.
It's not a weightlifting competition.
Yeah, exactly. Well, but you'd think he's like a professional athlete.
Yeah.
In high school, you'd think he would be great at. A lot of these things are kind of physical and demanding.
They don't tell you how everyone does during the dragon part of it. And
they all get their eggs, though.
They all get their eggs. You know that, but it would be nice to at least hear the scores. They just gloss over that.
Yeah.
Like, this is the central part of the movie, and they gloss over the scores for one of the three. As you were pointing out, there's only 3 parts to the competition, and we're just going to gloss over the scores. We tell you the scores of the second one.
Yeah, I just assume it's like Quidditch and the scores don't matter.
Well, the scores only matter in the sense that it's not the person with the most points wins. It's whoever touches the cup first. But the points matter in how much of a leadoff you get. Harry and Cedric get to enter the maze first because they had more points. And so that was the first we ever hear about it. It's near the end of the movie, and only at that point do we get any semblance of how everyone's doing. It's like, oh, Harry and Cedric are in the lead. And I remember when I was rewatching this earlier today, I was going, wait, I don't remember that, but I guess that's the first time we ever hear about where the score is. Like, that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah.
When that's the central plot.
Yeah.
True.
And that wouldn't take long. That would take less than a minute. And at the end of the Dragons, we have 10 points for Cedric and 7 for Crumb or whatever.
And I give an extra point to Harry just because. Ha ha ha.
I was about to say, we've established that points don't mean anything, even in like any of the Harry Potter things.
Yeah.
If you score a bunch of points, but someone catches the snitch, it's over. If you're good all year long and you really impress Dumbledore, he'll make a fool out of you at the end of the year and say
Fuck
he
you,
loves
Slytherin.
Harry Potter's.
I was never gonna give it to you.
The thing is, points matter unless Harry's involved.
Yeah,
right.
That is what it is.
Yeah.
Well,
Everything matters unless Harry's involved. Like, this thing is supposed to only have 3 people in it.
Harry has incredible plot armor, Batman-esque plot armor that
Yes,
protects him
that
from
is what it is.
anything.
Because to your point, they I don't know if they specifically say this, but in the Quidditch World Cup, Ireland wins, but Crumb does catch the snitch.
Oh,
oh wow,
that doesn't make sense.
I'm glad. It's like, I don't remember if I heard that or not. That's what happens.
Well, Crumb probably should have held off on catching that snitch for a little while.
The thing is, the points actually mattered because Harry wasn't in the game. The points actually mattered. Ireland was so good at scoring that they were continuing to outpace. So at that point, it was, well, do I want to lose by a lot or by a little?
Yeah.
There's no way we're ever going to catch up.
I see.
I feel like we established at some point
Sad.
that we kind of think Quidditch makes sense, but I think
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
it
It's
doesn't
a
make
little
sense
bit.
at all.
It's not
Chandler-
the best. It's not the best designed sport.
Chandler explained it a little bit last time in a way that made a little more sense, in that the points do matter for your standing overall too, which makes sense.
I'm
But,
assuming since it's British, I'm assuming there's similar to soccer where
Right.
there are different leagues.
you can get
And so-
relegated to the minor league.
Exactly.
Quidditch.
Someone was
I
pointing
feel
out
like
that we
there's
should have that with the XFL. Like the best XFL team gets into the NFL, and the worst team gets
I
relegated to the XFL.
kind of feel like we should have that in every sport, just to keep
Every
teams
year they
from
change it up.
sucking. Every,
it makes it more
yeah.
interesting.
I also feel like Quidditch has elements of they really like cricket there. Or no, sorry. Yeah, cricket, right? With the cricket.
where you catch the bugs. Yeah.
Here, cricket. Here, cricket.
But
So-
cricket games can, depending on what rules you're playing, cricket games can go on for like days or something like
Yeah,
that.
that's
to,
what Quidditch can. I
when-
believe somewhere in the books, Ron mentions that there was a game that lasted 3 weeks or something.
Wow.
And somewhere a curse got activated, and one of the chasers like ended up in a desert or something.
Nice.
I feel like we had a lot of Indian people in our town in Connecticut at some point, and they would book at certain times of year they would book the field at the high school to play cricket, and they would be out there like from sun up to sundown. It was like a whole day long thing.
Yeah.
And it would just be like, I don't know how long they played, but it was like hours and hours. Like it was like an 8-hour game, which I thought was just amazing.
The most popular like professional spectator one has like certain rules that make the game like kind of last a certain amount of time so that it doesn't just like go on
Yeah,
forever.
DH.
No.
It's very controversial.
Sorry,
But
I wasn't laughing at what you were saying earlier. I just saw the Voldemort baby thing.
yeah, the Voldemort baby is worth a laugh every now and again. I like how they just unceremoniously dump
Drop it into the
dump him
cauldron.
into the steaming cauldron.
So the problem with Quidditch and the points is that the points do matter for the relegation and stuff like that until you get to the final game, where you end up with something like this, where I think they built up the whole like Crumb doing that just because probably at that point someone had mentioned like, hey, Rowling, your sport doesn't really make sense if you catch the snitch, if it's that many points, they're always going to win. Well, I was like, well, I'm going to write a situation where it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I guess to your point of it being the last game of the season, I guess Crumb shouldn't have caught the snitch, because better to try to come back than to end the game
Right?
while
I
you're
would
losing.
do that. Yeah. So yeah, it is a little goofy, and I wish the as someone who enjoys sport, I wish it made a little bit more sense.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Crumb was trying to pad his stats and he didn't care about the team.
Yeah, he was never much of a team player, that Crumb.
I never realized that the cauldron becomes part of his body until just now.
It's sort of evaporated.
It all is forming into him.
It
it's
actually
becoming his
becomes his clothes. Yeah, it's his robe. He's wearing cauldron.
Nice robes, thanks. They're made
Oh
of
my God.
they're made of pewter.
What if the director was adamant that in this scene Voldemort had to be naked because like,
And you have to see his
rematerialize
wang.
the clothes?
It's not going to be real. It'll take people out of it if you don't see his snake wang.
Voldemort, you've got no nose and no balls.
Going through all these like samples of prosthetic like Voldemort wangs, like, trying to find the right
Wrong.
So a great start to any sentence. Speaking of nudity in the Harry Potter franchise.
Yep.
Because I just have to bring this up because I'm not going to be on for the last episode.
Oh, is there a lot of nudity in the last?
No, there isn't.
Damn
in the
it.
movie, but in the book, in the 7th book, I'll stop doing the spoilers, but there's a scene at King's Cross Station near the very end of the last movie.
Is it like a gangbang scene, like in It?
No, it's
Okay.
it's Harry and Dumbledore talking at a train station clad all in white. And
Calm down, Colin. he heard Harry, Dumbledore, and nudity, and he's
in
already
the movie,
interested.
they're just wearing very plain white clothes.
Yeah.
In the book, they're naked. Harry and Dumbledore are standing naked on a train platform.
Because aren't they in like heaven or something?
They never establish what it is.
Okay,
it's
yeah.
just
It's some kind of limbo or
white
something?
limbo-ish King's Cross station.
Yeah.
And I remember reading the book going, how on earth are they going to do this? Oh, just put clothes on him. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Dumbledore's beard would cover him up.
Yeah.
Yeah, his beard.
And Harry would have one of Dobby's socks. So What I think they do a really good job with the nose on Voldemort.
Yeah.
Yes.
Seeing as that's got to be like digitally taken out because it's just they told
Nope, they actually cut his nose.
Yeah, Ray finds that his nose shaved down for the role. No, they do it looks really good, and it makes him look kind of scary and nasty.
Or is that just a shit ton of prosthetics?
No, it's pretty flat.
It's
like,
when you see him
him
in profile, especially, it's just not there.
I've seen like one of those behind the scenes things, and there's little dots on his face.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I'm just poking my own nose, and it won't go down that far.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I
it
was
sticks out.
thinking about it from the profile side. You're right.
Now I'm crying a little bit.
Stop poking.
It is. That is very impressive.
Yeah. So this is good. Hey, I like that at the end of this, it's kind of as opposed to some of the other endings where it's like Harry magically wins through no fault of his own, or magically wins through just being super powerful or whatever. There's like an element of like stuff that makes sense here where the ghosts come and sort of help him, and then he has to like run away and grab the cup, which is a port key.
Yeah,
you know, and
I think that this movie is different enough. It breaks the mold a little bit, and that's
Yeah.
what makes it kind of stand out. And it's got more surprises because we've kind of seen 3 movies now, and we kind of know how this goes. They have a bit of a format to them.
Mhm.
But yeah, you're right. This one is different, and it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the series. It's like, it's never going to be the same again.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything does change at this point. And he does, I mean, he keeps going for the disarming spell, but he does do something where, as opposed to the first one, it's very much like Raiders of the Lost Ark syndrome, where the bad guy was never going to win, whether you were here or not.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It looks like he could get out of this, though.
Yeah, that's not very convincing.
The way the Reaper statue on the gravestone.
If you move
like,
your head to a foot to the left,
just turn left and go down.
It's like if you've ever had to shoot somebody that's like bound in something, and like you don't have the resources to get a good fake way to bind them, so you can't make them really tightly bound, and it just
looks bad.
Every time you see it, you're just like, yeah, he can clearly just slip his hands out of that.
Oh, it's a shame they should spend more time at a sex dungeon. They tell you all the knots and ropes they get out of things.
And he's like acting so hard that he's stuck in
Yeah,
it too.
and it's your worst actor
like
acting so hard. It's not a good.
That's a classic Daniel Radcliffe, like
Daniel
weird
Radcliffe,
face
do something
contortions.
weird with your mouth.
Yeah,
It's your go-to
I've
move.
got this one.
I got this on.
I've been working on this one.
So he clearly like went the full like McConaughey, whereas like eventually one day he's just like, I'm deciding I'm going to be a good actor now.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I've seen him in stuff recently where so far these movies, I'm kind of impressed at how bad he was and kept doing it. Like it takes a lot to stick with it. Yeah, they all became good actors. They did not all start that way. Ron, surprisingly, who I think has the least career of the 3 of them, has been the best so far.
Ron's coming up though. He's in that, like I said, he's in that Servant show on Apple.
I need to watch that. That looks so good.
And he's in the new M. Night movie that's coming out next year.
Yeah, I would
too.
watch him and stuff. He's good. Should we start wrapping this up?
I was just gonna say that this is about the time when we should do that.
All right. So
he moves his arms.
So I'll go first. Because there will be no spoilers here. I've already said that I like this better than the last one. I think I gave the last. What did I give the last one?
I'm gonna pull up
8?
your scores right now.
I think I gave it a 7 or an 8.
The last one has to reload. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, just for clarification, this is like a full-on grading scale where like
yes, it's out
10
of
is the Shawshank
0
Redemption.
to 0 to 10 Timothy Dolphins, and it's all very subjective, and 10 being the best.
Why Timothy Dalton? What's
Timothy
that about?
Timothy Dolphins.
It's not Timothy Dalton. It's Timothy
Dolphin
Dolphin.
Scale. God, Timothy Daltons. Like, what kind of stupid scale would
I
that
love
be?
Hot Fuzz. I'm sorry.
No, so
Harris, you gave the last one a 7.
that sounds about right. All right, I refuse to give things half scores, which is going to make it tough because I don't know that this rises to the occasion of an 8. It was a really entertaining movie. I thought for something, it didn't feel long to me, and I don't think it is that long, but I felt like it was really well paced. Unlike a lot of the other movies, I understood what was going on, and I didn't feel like there was a ton of plot holes that I wasn't getting. I feel like most of the performances have gotten better. I think Radcliffe and Emma Watson might have taken a small step back, but it didn't bother me. And it just looked great. It looked really fun. The set design, everything, just a lot of... I've got very few notes on this one. And I like the idea of the Triwizard Tournament, and I liked all the competitions. And like I said, the Mad Eye Moody and the Voldemort twists, the whole ending did take me by surprise, even though in retrospect it probably shouldn't have, but they got away with it and I enjoyed it. So I'm going to go ahead and give this 8 Timothy Dolphins. I definitely felt like I like the Prisoner of Azkaban. I like this better enough that I think it's worth giving it a whole other higher point.
You know, I'm uncomfortable. I'm agreeing with a lot of what Harry.
I know. This is going to be weird. This is going to be weird if we're on the same page with this. Why don't you jump in?
Yeah, Colin, why don't you go?
Yeah, I agree with about almost all of that, and I was kind of in between a 7 or an 8 myself. And well, geez, what did I give the last one?
You gave the last one a 7.5.
I know what he gave the last one. You knew it. Wow, you bastard.
Yeah, I think I'm also gonna give this one a 7.5.
You're just doing that to mess with me.
No, I'm not. That's what I feel.
It's so obvious.
I like fractions. Everyone likes fractions.
It's a decimal.
Well, yeah, it could be expressed in fractions.
Yeah, that's
Wait,
true.
so you weren't kidding? That's your final score?
My score is 7.5.
Don't start giving things 7.5. That doesn't even work in our situation.
Jesus. Schatz, do you want to give it a go and give like a little summary and then a score?
Sure. Now, I wasn't going to bring up Prisoner of Azkaban, but since everyone else did, I'm going to allow myself that. Since I wasn't here, but I would have given Prisoner of Azkaban a 9 because it's wonderful. But I'm not. This is not Prisoner of Azkaban, so I'm not here for that one. So I will talk about Goblet of Fire now.
We'll record that somewhere else in a separate record.
The hypothetical Schatz score.
Yeah.
But I don't disagree with a lot of what has already been said. I think a lot of the set design is really good. A lot of the action's really good. A lot of the Triwizard Tournament is a really cool idea for a plot thing. And as I mentioned before, it's the upper half of the books for me. But due to a couple weird pacing and decisions, like I think actually pulling back from what could have been with the Barty Crouch Jr. stuff and revealing it 30 seconds into the movie detracts from it. So I am okay with 0.5s on things, so I'm going to give this a 6.5.
Wow.
I'm okay with you giving a 0.5 on something when Colin's giving a 0.5 because at least the overall scores end up in round numbers. Colin, the audience can't see, but I'm shaking my head ferociously.
It's quite ferocious. It's it's too intense to look at.
I gave you a warning before I came on to hear how I felt about the series as a whole.
Son of a bitch. I just deleted all our scores by accident. I don't know how to
For what,
undo.
like all the movies ever, or what?
Don't you
Matt, why don't you just do your thing and I'll record our scores.
Okay. All right. Goblet of Fire, a title I don't think is worth the movie that it is slapped onto. I think this should have been called Harry Potter and the Triwizard Tournament.
Wrong.
Or perhaps some other more clever title. The Goblet of Fire is not a very important thing in this movie. Maybe it is more important in the book. Who knows? However, I do agree with you guys that the word goblet is cool. Fire, of course, is cool. But an actual goblet itself, not so cool. Just a cup. Having said all that, I really enjoyed this movie. I have to agree with Harris that I liked this more than Prisoner of Azkaban. I had to just get that out there. I'm sorry, Schatz.
It's okay.
I do remember, though, that Azkaban was my favorite book. I feel like that's the opposite of what you said, right? That it's your least favorite book.
It's weird. It is my least favorite of the books, and I know there I'm on the minority. At least with Prisoner of Azkaban being my favorite movie, I know a lot of people agree with me.
This movie had enough twists and turns, and I had seen this movie and obviously read the book years ago, but like just watching it again more recently, like it's a lot of the stuff still played. And it's very long, but it didn't feel that long. I was like with it because there's enough different stuff and characters and like set pieces that are happening. They, like I said earlier, they eliminated a lot of the cheese ball factor that is in the earlier movies. They got rid of the Dursleys. I mean, that's huge kudos right there. And the ending is cool. The reveal of Voldemort, like, I mean, all the effects are better in this one. aside from maybe like one or two little nitpicky things.
Yeah, the effects were good. Oh, the wand fight at the end. We didn't talk about the wand fight with Voldemort where there's like lava coming off of their...
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty cool too. Very like poster or trailer moment.
Yeah.
I thought like...
I thought I'd have a good title. What if it was Harry Potter and the Fourth Champion?
That's kind of cool too, because it tells you a lot about what the plot is.
What if it was called Harry Potter and the
bad.
Death of Cedric Diggory?
What if it was called Harry Potter and Doctor Who did it?
These are all great. Yeah, having said all that, I think the intensity is ratcheted up in this movie. This guy we're looking at right now, Mad Eye Moody, his whole thing is cool. His actor's great. Yes, I think Harry Potter or Daniel Radcliffe's acting is like not great in this, but it's not that bad. It's not as bad as what we've previously seen. I think
it's just as bad.
Yeah, okay.
He's keeping an even keel.
What makes it feel worse is the hair.
Yeah, the hair is terrible.
The John Denver.
I should have docked a point for all the hair, but
Yeah. But I mean, I really liked the pacing of this movie. I really liked, what was going on, and I don't know, man. I don't know if I kind of forget the rest of the movies. I don't know if they can do better than this. I'm going strong. I'm going big here, guys. I'm going real big. I'm going 9 Timothy Dolphins.
Wow. I do remember the very first time I saw it in theaters, really liked it a lot. Then I think that was like, now after I like know what twists and turns are coming and that it's like a part of a much bigger story for me, I think that takes a little bit away from it, or maybe I've just seen it too many times.
I will say, so far with these 4 movies, it's kind of a rarity in the our search for what franchises really work. In that the movies, the quality of them is going up.
Yeah, the trajectory is not normally. It's usually the first one comes out gangbusters.
Yeah.
There's sometimes a dip in the second one, and the third one kind of redeems itself, or the second one there's a slight dip, and the third one's even worse. Or there's a lot of ways things can go. They usually don't go where they progressively get better and better as it goes on.
Or mountains, like the first thing people are like, "Oh, this is cool. Let's put more money into it." Quality goes up, and then they get greedy, and then the third one really.
That's
suffers.
like Star Trek.
Yeah.
What?
Star Trek is kind of like the mountains, like you said.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Yeah, everything was like, the one we spent all that money on failed. Let's go cheap with this next one, and then it's great.
Star Trek was a rarity because they're all just like leaps and bounds ahead of anything.
Yeah, what'd you give them all? Did you give any of them 10s? Oh, they were that good then.
I just want to quickly say, after hearing Matt's score of a 9, I'm glad that I said my piece on the episode I wasn't chosen for.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be awesome if his leg came flying off right now as he's turning back into David Tennant.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
It just like falls on the floor and like that tongue that felt forced right there.
Yeah.
I'm a lizard person.
Look at me, I'm a sexy lizard.
But on the quality, like it does definitely, they put more money into it, but it all still feels somewhat cohesive, where it's not like one's like a huge outlier. Like the whole series as a whole feels consistent and all in the same world, instead of something being like, well, that all changed all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say honestly the biggest outlier of this series, knowing like kind of where it goes, is maybe the first movie. It's like so different in tone.
It was also shot on an actual castle, so there was a lot more on location as opposed to real sets.
And it felt...
as opposed to manufactured sets.
It was very bright, and it felt like a kid's movie, and it did feel like it had like that sort of, I don't know. And it was also very expositional. It had to be constantly kind of explaining the world
it's setting
to us.
up the world, right?
Also,
so by necessity, I think.
I think when the first movie came out, only 3 of the books were out. So this one and the darker tone they didn't realize where it was going to go yet. Mm-hmm. So it was like, oh, read the first one? Yeah. This.
Were they racing her at some point? Was it like a Game of Thrones thing where they were like threatening to get ahead of her?
I might be wrong,
because I know they were the reason Alfonso Cuarón didn't do this movie, or the reason he said he didn't, was because he was still editing the previous one, and wanted to focus on finishing that. And I actually have to look that up. I could be wrong where the first
the first movie came out with only 3 books out.
No, that might be true, because I feel like there was definitely like I read something somewhere about they had to consult with her about what would happen next, and I don't know if that was because they were shooting something that she had written, but they wanted to know what to set up for next. But I think it makes sense that they would be, because in my mind too, these movies were out and were a thing. Like I didn't know what the fuck the books were. I never read them. I was too old for that. But I remember the books were still coming out when these movies were super popular, and I had seen some of them.
Because there were some years in there where like the book release and the movie release were in like the same year, and so the whole year was just Harry Potter shit everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
so I wonder, like,
that sounds
did
kind
she?
of like I did enjoy the moment.
You enjoyed the shit, just
But
because
she also
doesn't mean you can't.
She
enjoy
didn't
it.
take 8 years to write a fucking book.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like she must have been burning through them, and I wonder if she like maybe had to keep a pace up because every year they were going to try to make another movie, and she was like, "Shit,
Well,
I'm gonna have to make another book to stay ahead."
Well, I thought I told you guys I read a thing where it's like she told Alan Rickman like his whole character arc.
She did have it planned out ahead of time, and Alan Rickman knew what was going to happen. He had to keep a secret for.
Are you into the Game of Thrones books?
I've read all the books.
Do you know when the last one came out? Book 5?
2011.
Yeah, isn't that fucking insane?
It is.
That is insane.
That is insane. I remember like people saying like, "Oh yeah, he'll finish the next book like before the show ends," and the show's been off the air for like 4 years or something now.
He should have, but he didn't.
Yeah. I'm betting he's not going to finish the next book before the remake of the show.
People are thinking he's going to pass away before he finishes the book.
Yeah,
I didn't.
That's a pretty smart bet.
When
actually,
I first heard people talk about that, I didn't think that was going to be the case. But now that it's been over 10 years. Yeah, that might be the case.
You know, you can be really dedicated to fantasy and the art of writing and all that stuff. And then once you have millions of dollars, be surprised how less important it becomes to you. Like, I thought this was my life's work that I was doing just because I loved it. And it turns out it was for the money. I was doing this for the money.
I could keep
I didn't think I was
this,
going to
or I
make this
could
much
go on
money,
vacation again.
Yeah, exactly. I think I'm just going to bang a couple of supermodels in Ibiza.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think I want to spend my time in a room toiling over a typewriter anymore.
Michael Schatz, thank you so much for doing this show.
My pleasure. I genuinely enjoyed this, and I would love to, if you want to have me back on, I would love to be back.
Oh, of course. Do you have anything that you're working on? This episode will come out in, let's see.
What day is today, man?
Yes.
It's May 3rd.
Or do you have anything that you're like working on that's coming out that you want to plug? Or like, do you have any social media that people can follow you on?
Yes. I usually go by the Scarlet Rebel. I don't really post on TikTok, but that is my TikTok handle. That is my Instagram handle.
June 6th is when this episode releases.
June 6th.
What are you going to be doing on June 6th? Big day for you.
In terms of things to plug, if any of you are in Utah, I'm directing a short film that's going to be part of a museum installation in Utah. And then, not at the moment, but I am writing a feature. And so if I'm on a future episode, I can plug that feature at that point.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is that Utah thing with former guest of this show, Jeannie Joe?
Yeah. Yes, it is Jeannie Joe's art installation. I am directing one of the pieces for that.
Cool.
Nice. And then social media, can anyone follow you anywhere?
You can find me on Instagram at the Scarlet Rebel, or if you want to see my D&D work, at the Dimension Door, where I show pictures of my maps, or you can hit me up and hire me for a one-shot. Anything D&D related, you can find me there.
You know what's funny is we are on a network called the Fandom Limb Network, and a lot of the other shows are like D&D based, and so, hey, you might get some traction on some of this stuff.
Oh, that'd be great.
We'll put it in the show notes or whatever.
Yeah, I was going to do another D&D podcast thing like that, but there are a lot of those. And so instead, it's like I'd rather just like do like one-shots for people. It's like, if you want a really unique one-shot, hit me up. I like to envelop all 5 senses, not just like, rolling dice on a map. You got the minis for the physical side of things and visual side of things. But I play music. I bring in candles that smell like the areas you're going. So it usually is
mostly farts.
But that's just because you're in the fart dungeon.
Yeah, the pit of farts.
The dungeon of farts.
Oh, but no, cantrip candles makes like this cool stuff that where like it smells like a mossy area, something like that. Or you find like an old chapel or something. And then I also cook for my players, and so there will be like a food item or a drink item that the players are coming across in the world. So I really envelop all 5 senses in my D&D games, and so I have unique one shots. So find me at the Dimension Door.
Nice, awesome.
Nice.
Well, guys, is there anything else we need to say about this classic Mike Newell joint?
I'm done.
Yeah, we've said it all.
We said too much.
We went through the whole show and we didn't mention what's his name? Sticky Lang.
Oh, Sticky Lang?
Sticky Lang.
I thought for sure Sticky Lang would make an appearance.
Yeah, it's just hard to imagine boxing. Like, what would he be in a Quidditch game, Sticky Lang?
Yeah.
A bludger for sure.
I'm sure that Sticky Lang will come up again. I think about Sticky Lang on the daily.
I wake up with a little Sticky Lang every day.
Thanks again for listening, and please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you like listening to us talk about your favorite film franchises. Thank you to our guest, Mike Schatz, and as always, thank you to Chris Morocco for banging out the You're a Wizard Harry remix for this series. Subscribe to our Patreon for just $1 a month over at www.patreon.com/L2W. That's www.patreon.com/L2W. Help support the podcast by joining. You get instant access to over 50 bonus shows that feature us covering non-franchise classics such as Matt Reeves' The Batman, True Lies, Showgirls, and so much more every single month. Again, that website to join is www.patreon.com/L2W. This show is a part of the Fandom Limb Podcast Network, so please be sure to check out some of their other awesome shows, and also please be sure to tune in next time for Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.